What up, bros? This is Caleb at the top of the episode. Just letting you guys know, today's episode is not going to be up to our usual or our current standard of audio quality. We had some technical difficulties. I am currently disassembling the office / studio / nursery, so things have just kind of been jumbled, and we were not able to get the typical quality that we provide here on the All Bros. So don't get disheartened. Next week we will be back to our normal sound, normal audio quality, but we hope you enjoy this episode. It was a hell of a lot of fun to record this episode, and we hope you guys enjoy it.
What up, bros, and welcome to the All Bros podcast. I'm Jonathan.
And I'm Caleb.
And we're a couple of aspiring filmmakers that love to watch and critique movies, but also enjoy a lot of it of the great life. This week on the podcast, we're joined. Shut up. We were joined by some special guests. If you would, Friday Night Movie. If you would like to introduce yourself.
Sure. Hey there. My name's Shai, also known as Pancake for the Table on Twitter and Instagram, but I'm also the co-host of the Friday Night Movie podcast with my sisters. My other sister, Becky, if you listen to our podcast, you know she just had a baby. So we were literally about to hit record, and she had a baby emergency. So she might reappear, but for now, you guys have me.
Works for us.
Yeah, sounds good.
So, I gotta ask, what's with the pancakes for the table?
Oh, so the origin of the pancake is like, so as we discussed in our pre-show conversation, I'm quite old, and as you get older, you still want to, as my older daughter says, be connected to your sense of childlike wonder. And for me, pancakes have become the symbol of that, because when you get older, you can't just eat all the pancakes all the time. Metabolism does not catch up with you. And so, but what you can do is you can continue to have pancakes and share those pancakes with other people around you, so you don't eat the whole pancake, but you still get to connect to that childlike wonder, and you spread it around to other people and you share your fun things. So that is where the origin of Pancake for the Table exists. I had actually, I'd come up with that years before I started using the Twitter or Instagram moniker or whatever, my artist name. But then it became that for me. So that is the origin of the pancake.
All right.
Deeper than you expected, right? I mean, I do know a lot about
pancakes. A lot deeper than I expected. I just thought you were going to say, "Oh, it was funny."
I know. I love pancakes, and I have to say, I can tell you a lot about pancakes and where to get the best ones and all that. But I feel like this is not a cooking based podcast, so I just stuck with the sense of childlike wonder component of this.
Honestly, I thought it was maybe like a Ralph Breaks the Internet reference.
I can say your rating system. If you want to, so we know I loved cats. That's how I got to be a guest on this episode. I despised Ralph Breaks the Internet. I didn't not like it a little bit. I was miserable during that movie.
What?
Yeah. And honestly, I love the first one. I love the first one. Consider me an early adopter of the first Ralph movie. I could not stand the second one. I'll say this. This is a great setup, because we're going to talk about cats, and I'm sure you're going to ask questions about plot and things making sense and all of that. Nothing in Ralph Breaks the Internet makes sense at all in a world where we know how the internet works. So there you go.
Fair enough.
Why is it that a computer program has to move away from home Right? We're about to talk about a movie where cats reincarnate. How many religions believe in reincarnation? It's a pretty normal thing. But Penelope has to move away to live in another video game with Gal Gadot? Doesn't make any sense.
Damn it, he's got a good point.
Yeah, so I'm just saying that's a movie I like. I loved that first one. Did not like the second one. Anyways, sorry, I don't mean to derail us.
All right, so this week on the podcast, we will be skipping over Adventures in Hunting. Don't really have any pops or Blu-rays to talk about. So instead, we will be doing our top 5 movies of 2019, as well as our top 5 most anticipated movies of 2020. And then,
Are we just doing movies? Because I kind of cheated and did a show.
Our sister Lily cheats all the time, so we respect her.
all right, I'll let it slide, Caleb.
Okay, cool.
And then after that, we don't have any sneak peeks to talk about. And then we'll be jumping into our main event of the evening, which will be our breakdown of the 2019 movie version of Cats.
Yay. It's a
enthusiastic.
movie we saw.
Let's be just to get you excited. I saw it before and after. I saw the OG version, as you put it, and after they put the new version out.
You saw the Broadway show?
Oh, I've seen the Broadway show.
saw-
I'm talking about
Is there another
the
movie?
2 releases
No,
of the
remember
movie.
how I told
No,
you?
he's
they
seen it
announced,
twice
like,
in.
yeah.
Yeah, so he's seen it twice in theaters. And how many times have you seen the Broadway show?
4
or the-
live, not including the DVD of the Broadway show that we watch in my house all
Right.
the time.
I want to say I've seen it 3 live. 3 live. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, so remember
2.
Universal announced that I think like 2 days after the movie release, they released a new version with updated graphics.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So I gotta know, like, were the graphics really that different from the first released version?
I honestly couldn't tell the difference. But I hope that there is, like, people are talking about the JJ cut today, right? Like, this big news today is that there might be a JJ cut. I'm not sure I want it, but I think we need to start the trending of, I want the Hooper cut of Cats musical with all the CGI that he wanted done. I want the Hooper cut.
I can get behind that.
I want tons of Ian McKellen licking milk from a saucer. I want triple the amount of scenes of that.
I think the point of Cats, of those of us who love this movie version of Cats, is that the CG, it's not going to make a difference. Like, it's not going to make you love it more. You're either going to love this story and you're going to submit to it and submit to your sense of wonderment and amazement and surrealism, or you're going to fight it. And the terrible CG is not going to really change your ability to do that.
And the 2 versions don't really change don't really change. But sorry, we jumped into Cats right away. As you can see, we brought
Very
brought a Cats
excited.
game. I know you guys. My sister Becky, by the way, I'm officially reintroducing her.
Hello, hello.
Okay.
All right, what do you say we all jump in?
Let's do it.
Let's do it.
All right, so first up, we are going to all talk about our top 5 favorite movies of 2019. Caleb, I hate this damn chair.
I don't know what to tell you. I mean, just be thankful you got a chair.
That's true. I could be sitting on the floor. That's good.
Yeah, with the disassembling of our office space, I'm lucky I get a chair.
That's true. All right, so who wants to go first?
I mean, it's your guys' show. Well, actually, you know what? Becky could be pulled away on a baby emergency at any minute.
Right.
Why don't we hear from Becky?
So these are
Okay.
my top 5 movies of 2019.
Yes.
Yep.
So without a doubt, my top movie of 2019 is Jojo Rabbit. Did you guys get a chance to see it?
Sadly, no.
I
I wanted to.
So this is the this is the new Taika Waititi film. He directed Thor Ragnarok, but he's actually this like amazing director. In addition to Ragnarok, director from New Zealand. His each film gets better and better, and so Jojo Rabbit is his newest one. It's so wonderful. I super highly recommend it. Anyway, so that's my number one. Number two, as has you guys have discussed it on your podcast, we've discussed it on ours, is Rise of Skywalker. That for me is a wonderful conclusion to this trilogy, but then to the whole series. Another film called The Farewell. Have you guys had a chance to see that one?
No.
Okay, so The Farewell is.
I hadn't even heard of it, for the record, guys. So.
Well, I was wondering. Another one I really recommend. It's shot in this really beautiful way. The script and the story and the characters. It's a great film. It's about a Chinese family that's all getting together in China to visit with the matriarch of the family, who is sick and dying, but she doesn't know that she's sick and dying. So they all go there under the pretense that the one of the grandchildren is getting married, and they're going there for his wedding, but the wedding is sort of, it's unclear whether or not he actually wants to be getting married or he's getting married so the whole family can get together. And it sounds pretty dramatic and depressing, but it's actually very funny, very heartfelt, and it is, it has drama in it, and it's sad, but it's just so beautifully told. It's just a really interesting look into a different culture and a family, and I loved it. Really just one of the most interesting films I saw. And then a film from earlier this year, and this is a special movie to me because of how much fun Shai and I had watching it together, is Shazam. So that stays up there as a top movie just because of like the whole experience of like going to see it and how much we loved it, and we're huge fans of Chuck/Zachary Levi. So for us, it was really fun to see him in that role. And then my last favorite movie of 2019 is one I haven't actually seen yet, but I assume I'm gonna love it. So Little Women. So that I'm gonna say is my, in my top 5. Haven't actually seen it, planning on seeing it, planning on loving it. So
I've heard that movie's amazing. I want to see that so bad.
So it's one of my all-time favorite stories. Huge Greta Gerwig fan, so I just feel like it's got to come together, Yeah, those are my top 5
choices.
Excellent choices.
Thank you.
Yeah, I haven't seen Little Women yet, but I think Brielle's going to make me go see it.
I thought you say she's going to make me. Like, you don't want to see it?
I use make in quotes.
Oh, okay.
She's gonna make me.
That's like my kids wanted to make me see Frozen 2.
Hey, at least like you have someone to actually go see it with you. I'm probably going to go see Little Women alone, and I'm going to feel really off.
Yeah, I went to go, or the most awkward I've ever felt in the theater is when I went to go see, which one was it? It was a Winnie the Pooh movie.
Yeah.
By myself.
Wow.
Yeah, I walked up to the theater and I'm like, hey, I need a ticket for Winnie the Pooh. And the person selling the tickets kind of like stood up and like tried to look to see if I had a kid with me.
Oh boy. And then they called the police.
I wish that would have been way less embarrassing. But that's a great top 5. That is.
Thank you.
All right, let's see what next.
You want me to go? Well, I'll go next because I can say that my top 2 are the same as Becky's. Jojo Rabbit, set in World War II, about a kid who's raised as a Nazi whose best friend is his imaginary friend, which is Hitler. And it obviously is not a pro-Nazi movie. It's about the kid's evolution and the characters and people that he interacts with throughout World War II. And it's just a beautiful movie. And I can't say enough about Taika Waititi being amazing.
And very, very funny. And very, very funny in the particular... Because, again, the way you describe it, it sounds like it could be a very heavy drama. And it has those elements. But it's really...
Yeah. ScarJo, Sam Rockwell, they bring it. It's a beautiful movie. Rise of Skywalker is my number 2. Then I loved Ready or Not. I don't know if you guys saw that, but Ready or Not with Samara Weaving and a whole bunch of Canadian actors that I love, because there's something super Canadian about that movie, right? I don't know what.
I haven't seen it yet,
okay.
but I love me a good Canadian movie.
But it's an hour and a half. It's hilarious. It's violent. I love horror comedy. It was one of the best surprises of my year. I loved it. Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. And then you said we could do 5 or 6, right? 1, 2, 3, 4. Oh no, Once Upon a Time was number 4. And number 5 is Blinded by the Light, which is that movie about, the Springsteen songs and the kid raised in London. And that was kind of one of the, I've been trying to push my kids who are 8 and 6 to watch like slightly more grown up movies now. And we watched that together, and it was my way to introduce them to the music, and they loved it. And so much so that my 8-year-old watched it by herself the other day. So I felt like that's like a significant pop culture moment for my family.
Ooh, that's awesome.
Yeah, I've really been wanting to see Ready or Not.
Yeah, I have too.
And I've been debating whether to go get it on like Redbox. So now I might.
Oh, it's a total. I mean,
that-
so we have a rating system on our show: buy, rent, or meh. Right? It's like buy it, like I'd put it in my DVD collection. Rent, Redbox in your case, or stream or something like that. And then meh is complicated, but for our show, but it's 100% a buy. Ready or Not, 100% a buy as far as I'm concerned. I bought it the moment it came out on digital.
So if it's a buy, Caleb's probably going to wait until I buy it, and then he gets.
Oh, okay.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Or or rent it. Either way, it's terrific. I stand by. That's my biggest one. I stand by that and JoJo. Like Rise of Skywalker, I get people are going to be, mixed about, but I stand by those two as 100% wins when they recommend them to people.
Nice.
Another great list.
Yeah, that's a real good one. All right, Rose.
Okay. All right, so I'm going to actually do 5-1. Because I'm going to like build up.
Oh, nice.
All right, so at number 5, I have Frozen 2.
Really?
Yeah. I thought it was really
So may I just, because I'm a fan of your show, can I just, I don't, I'm not mean to be critical, but you mentioned the other, it wasn't Rose. Was it Caleb? Who was complaining about the Avatar Airbender component of Rey channeling the Jedis?
I think that was me.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Then Rose, you're forgiven. Because I felt like Frozen 2 lifted a lot from the Airbenders.
Okay. Yeah, I'd have to agree down there.
I'll be quiet now. Sorry.
No, you're good. At number 4, I feel this is going to piss Caleb off. Toy Story 4.
Gosh damn it.
I'm sorry. Woody has been my favorite Disney character, ever since I was a little kid. So seeing him get, I feel like, a perfect wrap up to his story just makes me love this.
Really? That's so interesting.
So
okay,
wait,
that
Becky,
you
but
feel that him going off to be a lost toy is the wrap up to his story. All right.
But I
That's
would say
good.
back,
Good to know it's satisfying.
I would say that there's some childlike wonder happening here. It makes me really happy.
Yeah. No, this list so far, I'm loving it. I have not had a chance to see Frozen 2, and I don't fully agree with Woody's ending, but it makes me happy that you found joy in it. So I feel like at least it's serving, some people. So that's great.
We have broken down both of these movies, and both of them, that's not even like the right order. We gave Frozen a higher score than Toy Story 4.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but that was the All-Bro score. That wasn't personal score.
Yeah, we're
We
doing
touched
personal.
upon this.
Mm-hmm.
You're dumb.
You're wrong.
All right, at number 3, I got Spider-Man Far From Home.
Ooh,
Okay.
Good choice.
I thought it was a very good sequel. And Jake
Very
Gyllenhaal as Mysterio.
Yes.
I did.
Didn't you feel like with his performance, he was so excited to be in the movie? Like, I felt like Jake, like there's so many big actors out there that they want to get into these superhero movies and they're like resistant to it. And you're like, will I ever see Keanu Reeves in one of them? Things like that. You felt like Gyllenhaal was like, yes, I'm so excited to be here. Really appreciated that about him.
I thought he was perfectly cast as Mysterio, but because of like the excitement level that I could like feel with his performance, I'm kind of bummed out that he was a villain. Like I kind of wanted him to. I wanted him to bring that into like some hero. I don't know which one, but just because I know that the heroes would like get multiple movies and whatnot, but he did.
I think he'll be back.
Oh, I think
he'll be back.
We're going to see some Sinister Six or something like that.
Yeah. He'll be back.
So I really hope so.
Because I'd love to see him and Keaton team up.
Oh.
Yes.
So good.
Oh, damn it! I can't wait for the future. All right, number 2, I got Joker.
Okay.
I can't say like nothing but good things about this movie. I have no problems with it.
Other than it being super dark.
True, it's very dark. It's a very dark movie. And then at number 1, literally ever since I saw it, Avengers Endgame.
Oh, okay, good.
It's the perfect wrap.
Respectable list. I like it.
Well, damn it!
I feel like so far we're really like covering a lot of ground here.
I gotta say, I love that you have Frozen 2 and Joker in the same list. Like, that makes me so happy.
It shows your range. It shows your range. I will say that.
Some movies I love.
So my top 3 is exactly the same as yours. So number 1, Endgame. Number 2, Joker, and then number 3, Far From Home. My number 4, though, is Rocket Man.
Ooh,
that was lovely. Really, that was great.
Taron Egerton.
Forgot I watched that. I watched that like a month ago. I don't know how I already forgot about it. It's a great movie.
Yeah, and then my number 5, and I've really enjoyed this movie, is Captain Marvel.
That movie, I enjoyed it, but it's gone down for me.
I had fun with it.
I did too, but
I had a lot of fun.
Grade-wise, it's like, honestly, I think I enjoyed The Rise of Skywalker. What? Sorry. Sorry, bro.
I'm with Rose on that, but I liked both of those movies a lot.
Both of you are wrong then.
Caleb's about to punch me, I'm pretty sure. Like,
my big issue with Captain Marvel is not that movie, it is how she is used in Endgame. Because she's like the character kind of gets undone by the fact that she takes down Thanos' entire ship with like one punch. And then they've got other people chasing Thanos during this fight.
Yeah,
that's a good point.
But within her story,
what are the rules?
Within her story, I thought she was great.
Yeah, they kind of overpowered her
just a little bit.
Yeah, like she took a headbutt from Thanos. Like, I've seen Thanos do that to her in the comics, and it doesn't end up very well in her favor.
But
she doesn't just like take it.
Oh, okay. So
I'm
that's
a Brie Larson hater, but I feel if Brie Larson got knocked like halfway across the wherever they of Avengers top whatever, I feel that probably made a lot of people happy. Just watching her get flown across.
Yeah, I think she was incredibly charming in that movie. Like, so funny, and her delivery's great. I think she was great. Plus, Ben Mendelsohn as a Skrull. Oh man, that was great.
Fantastic.
Oh, I love the Talos, or that's Talos.
Yeah. I thought it was Talos.
Is it Talos
or is it Talos?
Whatever it is. I love him. He's awesome.
He was great.
Okay, so that's our top 5 of the year.
Yep, of 2019.
Okay, and now top anticipated for 2020.
All right, who is going first?
I think we should just bring it back around.
Okay.
All right, so I'm very, very excited to see the upcoming Pixar film Onward. My husband worked on it for like 3 years is a huge part of our life, and I am so excited to see it. I think it's going to be absolutely amazing. So I'm very pumped. That's like the number one movie I'm excited to see.
I'm sorry.
What?
Can I ask a question really quickly?
Yes.
Oh, I'm sorry. What part did your husband play?
So he is a storyboard artist, and he was in the storyboard department on that film since the very early days of it. So he does, they get like the script pages, and they actually draw out shot for shot what the film is going to look like. And over the course of many years, they sort of redrafted, and the story changes and the scenes change. And so the storyboard artists tend to be kind of a part of the, depending on the film and on the director, they'll help shape the actual film. And so he worked on that for, I think it was 2.5 years or 3 years. So 2 years, 3 years, something like that. So I'm really, really excited to finally see it. I think it's coming out, I want to say in March, right?
Yeah, I think
so.
Soon.
It's just a couple months. Yeah.
You just got all types of excited.
Oh.
You ditch me in a heartbeat to go work at Pixar.
Anyone should ditch whatever they're doing in a heartbeat to go work at Pixar. It is like a playground for adults. It is a magical, magical place to work. Totally wonderful. So, yes, if you have the opportunity, ditch whatever you're doing to go get a job. It's very special. I'm very, very excited for that. The next one, there's this documentary coming out that was just announced called "You Cannot Kill David Arquette." Now, you guys, I'm guessing, don't quite remember because I'm not sure you were even alive when this happened. But when Shai and I were teenagers, when we were younger, right? We must have been teenagers. David Arquette, actor, started a career as a wrestler. And I think this movie is about his wrestling career or his current comeback in wrestling. Because I think he started wrestling again about a year ago, right, Shai? Something like that?
Something like that. Well, yeah. Did you guys ever see Ready to Rumble?
No.
So Ready to Rumble is like a WCW, which was a wrestling company a while ago before you were born. They were the big competitor to WWE or WWF when we were kids. And they did all sorts of like stunt things. And one of them was they partnered with and made a movie where like all of that took place like behind the scenes. And David Arquette is in it as this guy who wants to be a wrestler.
And you said this is a documentary about David Arquette's wrestling career, and I think it's actually quite serious and dramatic and really tells the story of him as a wrestler. And for Shai and myself, it taps into a very particular moment in pop culture that we experienced and his story. So I'm super excited to see it. It looks like it's going to be so well made. I don't know if they've announced where it's going to premiere yet or when, but I know it's coming out next year because I read a couple articles about it. So I'm very excited about that. There's comedy that I'm really excited to see with Julia Louis-Dreyfus and Will Ferrell called Downhill. That looks awesome. I'm so excited for that. I will take them anytime, anywhere. I will watch those two, and I can't even imagine them teamed up. I feel like my head's going to explode. There's another movie. I don't know what it's about. I haven't even seen a preview for it. All I know...
You heard about it from me.
I heard about it from you. It's probably where I looked it up. What is this movie? But one of my favorite... I can't even say my favorite actor, but he plays one of my favorite characters in the entire world, is going to be in this movie. So Bloodshot. Shai, you'll have to tell us what it's about. I think not sure if it's on your list or not too, but Sam Heughan is in that movie, and I am so excited to see it, even though I don't know what it's about.
So you have two on your most anticipated where you have no idea what they're about. So
no.
you really don't listen to Rotten Tomatoes doesn't sway you. You're just like, I'll see it.
Oh, I couldn't.
This is a good setup for when we talk about cats.
I could not care less about critics or Rotten Tomatoes or any of my peer opinions. I have very, very strong opinions, and I stand by them. And then lastly, Denis Villeneuve is making Dune. this is a huge deal that Dune is finally being made, and that of all people, it's Denis Villeneuve. He is by far one of my favorite directors. I love absolutely everything that guy has made, except for the what's it called? The Blade Runner sequel. All right, it's not really, but whatever. Very excited to see it. Timothée Chalamet is going to be in it. There's just like, I think the stakes are pretty high with that one. So we'll see, but I'm very excited. So that's my list.
With the number 4, what was the Bloodshot?
Bloodshot, yeah.
Yeah, Shai, can you tell us? Do you know what Bloodshot is?
So Bloodshot's on my list. Bloodshot. So there's this comic book company in the '90s called Valiant Comics, and I'm a big comic book fan. My best friend Josh and I, we collected comics like crazy. I love Marvel. I love DC. Fine, but at the same time that Image Comics were created, Valiant was created, and Valiant had the best stories and best characters. Now, I wouldn't say Bloodshot was the best of all of the characters, but he's really cool mercenary with super nanite blood that's injected into his body in his chest, which is why he's like a huge red splotch on his chest. And he's like a super soldier. And Vin Diesel's in it. And I just love that. I mean, I honestly am not sure it's going to be a good movie, but seeing these comic books brought to the screen makes me so happy that I'm excited for it. So that's Bloodshot.
I think I have seen the trailer for that.
Just
I thought it looked really cool, but I'm like, I feel it's gonna be one of those movies you just kind of gotta shut your brain off to watch.
Yeah. It's probably gonna be like Hitman or Agent 47 or Assassin's Creed, like any of those other. It's not a video game movie, but the way they're making it, I mean, maybe it'll be. I don't know. It could have a little Minority Report-ness about it. I'm psyched for Ghostbusters Afterlife, which kind of looks like Stranger Things 3.5, which I'm fine with. Tenet, the new Nolan movie. You just tell me Nolan and John David Washington. I don't care what it's about. Don't know what it's about. Seems like there's a guy with a CPAP machine on in all the commercials. Whatever. So I'm excited for that, and then I'm psyched for. So Becky mentioned Onward, so I'm gonna cheat by not mentioning Onward, only because I just read the description of the next Pixar movie coming out called Soul online. And it's about a jazz musician who leaves his body, and it's being done by Pete Docter. Beck, is it being done by Pete Docter? Mm-hmm. Who did Inside Out? Is that correct? And so
he did Inside Out and Up. So he kind of does these really offbeat stories that are unexpected.
Yeah, I don't like Up, but I love Inside Out. And
you don't like the first 5 minutes of Up.
I also don't like the talking dog part or the old man part or the little kid part. I don't like any of Up. And then for my 5th slot, I think I have a 5th slot. I'm going to go with a pretty obscure looking movie that's coming out called VFW. And I don't know why anyone would. I think it might have come in festivals, but it's not coming out to the general public until it's coming on demand, I think in January. And do you guys know The Karate Kid?
The original or the remake?
The original, and then Cobra Kai, the TV show.
Oh yeah, I haven't watched Cobra Kai, but I've watched all the Karate Kids.
Okay, so you know the evil sensei, John Kreese, Martin Kove?
Mm-hmm.
So it's him and William Sadler, who's another character actor, and they play a bunch of old army dudes who are hanging out at the VFW, the Veterans of Foreign Wars kind of hangout club, and it's some sort of midnight siege where they have to fight their way out till dawn kind of thing, and it's a bunch of, what's his name? I think Richard Roundtree is in it. It's got just a bunch of old grizzled, the Expendables, but the real Expendables, not really famous guys, just really great character actors. But why I love it is that Martin Kove, who plays John Kreese, was at AwesomeCon, which is the big DC, the DC area Comic Con. And, I met him and he was the nicest, cutest little old Jewish grandpa you ever met. He is nothing like the sensei at all. He was this hilarious, adorable guy who took pictures with my kids and wrote autographs for everybody. He didn't even charge us for everything. He was just the nicest person. And, he was telling us about how he was making that movie, right before then. And, so I've been super intrigued since then just because I I want to support him because he turned out to be the nicest guy ever.
That's awesome. I love when you meet someone that you kind of like look up to in a way, and they end up being like exactly what you think they're going to be.
Yeah, or even better, I don't like meeting like famous people that are my heroes. I'm very judicious about which ones I meet because if it's a bad interaction, it haunts me forever.
Yeah.
For sure.
It's like
My dad
Becky
and I
and
went
Peter
to-
Facinelli.
I once at Shai's insistence, I repeated an iconic line from a 90s movie to an actor, and was met with just like no, so stone cold, no reaction, no acknowledgement that he was in this movie, that this line existed. It wasn't even that it was embarrassing. It was surreal, the moment where I was like, oh God, and it's quite terrible. So yeah, I would say it was a bit of a bummer. Be careful meeting your heroes. Be careful what you say to them. Yeah.
Ooh, I'm sweating next Comic-Con.
Yeah, my dad and I went to a Comic-Con a couple years ago and met Lou Ferrigno.
Oh yeah, he pops up a lot.
He's great. I felt like when I did meet him that I got profiled a little bit because I was the one that drugged my dad there. Like my dad is like a big Lou Ferrigno, like Incredible Hulk fan, but I'm like a huge Lou Ferrigno Incredible Hulk fan.
Really? Wow.
Yeah, I actually just finished the series on Hulu not too long ago. Rewatched it. And I know a lot of people disagree with me, but I feel the show holds up. But yeah, when we met, he's great. He's awesome. Like I would go see him again, like
Cool.
in Harbor.
I'm
That's awesome.
surprised if he came to Salt Lake Comic-Con.
I hope he does, dude.
Now Jeremy Renner needs to come to Salt Lake Comic-Con again. All right, so for my top 5, number 1, I got Halloween Kills.
Really?
Yeah, I know. I could not decide between Ghostbusters Afterlife and Halloween Kills, but I don't think I've actually ever seen anything from Jason Reitman, so I don't know how his directing style is. So I'm very excited, but still like a little hesitant. But with Halloween Kills, I've seen how David Gordon Green, what direction he wants to take Michael Myers in. I'm actually pretty darn excited. Haven't gotten the trailer yet, but stoked for this movie. And they seriously better explain how the hell he got out of that basement, because there's I don't know how the hell he got out of there. And his mask better be somewhat burned. Come on.
Yeah, it has to be.
At number 2, I got Ghostbusters Afterlife. So excited for this movie. So glad that they're keeping it in the originals timeline. And like you said, it's Stranger Things 3.5, but I'm honestly okay with that too. Number 3, I got Black Widow. Very excited for that. And I would love if we got somewhat of a tease of what happened in Budapest between Hawkeye and Black Widow. That'd be nice. Number 4, I honestly didn't know what to put as my number 4, number 5. So number 4, I put the third SpongeBob movie.
Are you shitting me?
No,
There was a second one?
Yeah, there was. I know a lot of people didn't see it.
Wow. You know how I know I like you? Because you say things that upset me so profoundly and it makes me like you more, Rose.
Yes. I've never heard someone say that to me. It's so sweet.
It's just because I
feel
love
like
people
that's
who are.
not-
I love when people are fans of things. It just makes me happy, even if I'm not into it. I'm like, yeah, you go get that third SpongeBob movie, man.
Then at number 5, even though I hate the voice of one of the characters, I got Scoob.
Scoob?
Yeah.
Like the Scooby Doo.
Which voice do you hate? Which voice actor?
I don't like the voice of Shaggy because I don't think he sounds anything like Shaggy.
Who's doing the voice of Shaggy?
Well, it's like a kid Shaggy, right? It's like Shaggy in like middle school before he was like his voice cracked.
Well, I don't know how old they're supposed to be in it.
So I know they're doing like a thing where they're younger kids. So kind of like the a pup named Scooby Doo aged.
Yeah.
And then
it's
the
like
adults and the guy voicing Shaggy is Will Forte.
Yes.
Oh,
yeah, he doesn't do a great job.
It just still kind of bugs me that they didn't even ask Matthew Lillard.
Oh, I love Matthew Lillard as the live action Shaggy. He was fantastic.
He was, and like he even took. I can't believe he took to like Twitter, and he's just like, "Well, thanks for the invite, guys. Appreciate it."
Yeah, he found out about the Scooby Doo movie when they announced the cast.
Yeah, never asked nothing. The only one original that's come back is Frank Welker's Scooby Doo.
Well, that's because Frank. I mean, when we're talking about Frank Welker, we're talking about one of the most important, legendary voice actors in human history. What was I watching with my kids the other day? Where we were looking at the voice list of some old thing, and sure enough, Frank Welker's in there. He is in everything.
He honestly really is. Like, if you go on IMDb, it's amazing how many roles he's credited for.
Yeah, he does a lot.
It's insane. All right, Caleb, let's hear him.
All right, my top 5. Okay, so my number 1 is Black Widow.
All right.
I am really excited for Black Widow. Taskmaster is one of my favorite villains from the... He's up there. Like, he's up there.
Did he have a bow in the comics?
I don't think he has a bow.
So can I just call him Evil Hawkeye?
No, you cannot call him Evil Hawkeye. But yeah, I'm really excited for that one. My number 2, like I said, I cheated a little bit. It chose a show is Falcon and the Winter Soldier on Disney Plus. And this isn't one that I'm like, out of all the things Disney announced, this isn't the thing I'm most excited for. But I'm excited for. Huh?
Better be Hawkeye.
No, it's She-Hulk. Hey,
Whoa.
forget you.
I thought they put She-Hulk on ice. I thought that they balked on She-Hulk TV show.
So they're making it a Disney Plus show.
Oh, that's it? Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, but I'm excited for Falcon and the Winter Soldier. Mostly because this is going to be our first MCU TV show of sorts, and it's going to set the bar for all the other shows.
Speaking of Disney Plus, did you see that Disney moved up WandaVision to this year?
Yes.
So, but you're still more excited for Falcon and the Winter Soldier?
I'm more excited for Falcon and the Winter Soldier only because it's going to set the bar for the other shows.
Okay.
And hopefully it does a good job. I'm hoping it like lives up to the level that Mandalorian's currently at.
Let's hope so. Even though I haven't seen the show yet.
Mandalorian's good. You need to.
Mando's good. Mando's good. It's the thing holding the Star Wars universe together right now, or the fandom.
That's what everyone says.
I don't even think it's the
Little
Mandalorian.
baby Yoda's using the Force to keep everybody stitched together.
Yeah.
My number 3 is The Eternals.
Oh, that's actually finally coming out?
What do you mean it's finally coming out?
Well, I'm sorry, I'm thinking of, what's that, like that Marvel Fox movie that kept getting pushed back, like they released it.
Oh,
New
Mutants?
Yeah, that's what it was.
Yeah. I don't know if that one's ever going to get released.
Maybe they can put that on Disney Plus. There we go.
Maybe. It's like, whatever, cut our losses and just throw it on Disney Plus.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm really excited for The Eternals. I think the cast is really good. With how big names that they're going to have for The Eternals, I'm kind of hoping this is kind of a one-off for them. And I hope that a lot of these actors and actresses like that are very like Angelina Jolie and Penelope Cruz and all of them. Or no, it's Salma Hayek.
Yeah, I was going to say, wait, isn't it Salma Hayek?
I'm dumb. Yeah, I hope they don't cheese it up. I'm afraid that they got chosen because they're such big names, and I'm afraid that they're going to just like overdo it.
I really hope they don't, because that's not going to be a great introduction to Phase 4.
Yeah, not even a little bit. My number 4, surprisingly, is Sonic the Hedgehog.
You know what? That was my number 6, so I'm okay with that.
Okay.
Hey, man, why not? That could be a lot of fun.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, I was going to go see it either way. Before they did the CGI fix on him, because I'm like, okay, this looks so bad. I feel it would be good, but now that they fixed it, I'm like all in. I love Sonic.
Even if it gets terrible reviews, I still owe a movie ticket to the studio for actually listening to it.
Oh yeah.
Oh, that's a really great point.
Yeah, if they're going to take the time to fix something that's that huge, yeah, it's worth a ticket.
Yeah, they've earned $10 from me.
Yeah, if they would have just kept it how it was, that would be like a $5 Tuesday movie. But this is like
because the movie was originally supposed to come out last month in December. So honestly, before they did the redesign, I think that's actually a good thing that they moved it to February, because I don't think it would have done that well with like the Rise of Skywalker, all these things coming
Cats.
out. Yes,
people would have been like, which furry animal movie am I going to see? Hedgehog or cats? I don't know.
And
then last, my number 5 is Mulan.
Oh, I was thinking of putting that on my list. I'm very curious about that one.
I hope that they throw in Mushu.
I thought they confirmed that they're not.
They showed a flying dragon in the commercial, so I mean, he might not be like talking like Eddie Murphy. But,
yeah, well, they introduced the concept of magic. If they don't throw in a little Mushu, that sucks.
I think it's going to be, my prediction based on the little glimpse I saw in the commercial is that it's going to be more like the spirit guardian animal in Coco or the tiger in Aladdin. And like it's going to be a badass Mushu that sort of protects her, right? Because Mushu, if I believe, is like her sort of guardian from the elders thing. That's where he comes from in the original movie. So for me, I mean, they might not call him Mushu. He might have a different name, but I bet you there's going to be a dragon that somehow protects her or inspires her or something like that.
So in the Mulan movie, Mushu's actually sent to go wake up the great dragon spirit that's supposed to protect Mulan, and he ends up like breaking his head.
Oh, yeah. I forgot about that.
He's just like, okay. And then he tells the ancestors that he's going to go, pretends to be the great dragon spirit, and just like, let's go. And then he goes.
The vibe of that commercial did not suggest they're going to do like Donkey from Shrek hijinks.
Correct.
Yeah, very true.
But I hope we just get some sort of Mushu. That's all I'm hoping for. Just some kind. But
I'll keep my fingers crossed for you.
But the music for it, like, I know it's like always done as an instrumental. Well, they've done like instrumentals of like the songs, and those all sound great. So I'm pretty excited for this movie.
You know what that movie needs? It needs a co-authored Taylor Swift, Andrew Lloyd Webber song.
That it does.
If it really wants to be put over.
Our
just like
favorite movie of the year, our real favorite movie of the year.
Would you say it was really one of your real favorites? I almost put it in my top 5, but Blinded by the Light edged it out. But it's in my top 10 of the year for sure.
Oh, for sure it's in my top 10. And The main reason
These poor gentlemen, I think they're going to pass out that we're saying this. Like, who are these people?
So much because in the moment I was enjoying it so much, which I was. It's that since having seen the movie, it has reignited my childhood love and obsession with cats. And I've been listening to the soundtrack. I've been singing the songs to myself, to my husband, to my kids. I'm just singing it all the time. I've gone back and I've watched the 1998 film version of the stage play. I've looked up to see where it's touring. Is it coming to my city? Can I even go see it again? And so what I realize is that it's one of those movies where it's not just that you're having so much fun. Like I said, if you just submit yourself to the experience and you don't fight it, it's that afterwards, it's like a little earworm and it just sticks with you. And you're just like, you're feeling like a little bit of a jellicle cat, you know? You're just like, you want to party and dance all the time. So I have to go now. I have to jet. I have 2 small children that need to be fed. But I want to, like, Shai has my very detailed notes as to everything I loved about this movie and why, what my favorite parts were. So I'm going to, like, hand that off to him and you can speak for me. But just wanted to leave you at that sort of, you know, that headline of yes, 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 cats. Bye, bye, bye. This is a movie that I want in my iTunes library and I can turn it on anytime and just have like a little song and dance hit of fantasy and wonderment and surrealism and zaniness and just feel like a little jellicle cat for a few minutes. So thanks for having me on, guys. I'm sorry I have to leave early.
Very good. Thank you. Thank you for being.
This is super fun. And Shai, I leave it to you.
You got it back.
Right.
Thank you for coming to defend
All right.
the magic of cats
Oh yeah. All right.
with your big brother.
Bye.
Later.
Yeah.
Okay, well, with that, let's say we get into the main event.
Let's do it.
Time for the main event.
It's main event time.
Let's play a game.
Now, one of my talents, which you don't have to do, but like I did this to our other sister the other day. Sorry, how does your main event start? Did I just cut you off as you were starting?
No, you're good.
No, you were
Oh,
totally fine.
okay. One of my main talents is that I actually I was talking to our other sister on the phone and I was driving and we're talking about the movie and I was like, I can list all of the cats by memory. Maybe not all of them, but most of them by memory. And I listed like not all the names, but like so many cats that she says to me, she goes, do you realize you've listed not only all the cats in the movie, but ones from multiple different productions that don't necessarily reappear in different productions? And I was like, yeah, I know.
That's amazing.
I can do Star Wars and cats. It's a very weird talent.
I can only name 4 off
Cats.
the top of my head. Yeah.
Okay, that's pretty good.
I can't name any.
They don't say a lot. They don't say all of their names in the movie. So
I have been, and this is before this movie was even announced, I am not a fan of cats.
did you see?
And this is because I am phobically afraid of them.
Oh, my wife would agree with you. That's kind of how she feels about the play. She doesn't like the animal, doesn't like the play.
Yeah, I think I've shared this before. I shared the story, like we did an episode way back when of we try to make a dream cast, so like how we would make our most irrational fear a scary movie.
Ooh, that's cool.
And so it's our fear dream cast. I forget what episode that is, but my fear is cats. I hate cats, and I owned 2 of them at one point. Like it was after I got married. I got the cats because I wanted to make my wife happy, and the only reason that I felt that they weren't like attacking me or like killing me in my sleep was because they somehow knew that I paid for their food. and so we gave them away to some nice lady, and I I don't go over there because I'm like, they know I don't provide for them anymore.
Look, I'm not going to debate that cats in real life are scheming against their masters. There's no question.
Yeah.
I mean, the cats in the movie kind of allude to that.
True.
Yeah, so we actually have some messages from our bros. So I posted a question of the week. Oh, let me find it. Jeez, I got like a ton of tweets from. Actually, it's from you guys talking about cats.
Yes, you're like, well, that was our trick. We flooded your feed. No, we didn't, but we flooded your feed. So the only messages about cats you have are from me and Becky.
So let me see if I can find it. Because I forgot what I asked. Okay. So our question of the week was, if possible, how would you change the movie to make it more appealing? And I meant like more to the masses, because I think a lot of people were just like disturbed at the CGI.
Yeah,
so
I thought it was a really thoughtful question. I give a lot of respect for you guys, considering that like you're going into this not liking this movie. Your commitment to, asking a real question, I thought was honorable.
Yeah, we try. So let's start off. So the first one that we got is from the unknown critic at _Nani_Mouse. And his answer was not start cat threads. And then I had to tell, I try to respond to everyone to make it like
that's good,
more fun. I told him that I wish, but we don't make the rules. I don't make the rules. I just enforce them. And a lot of people have come back at me and been like, "It's your podcast," and I'm like,
"They're not
well,
wrong."
Yeah. The next one we got is from Victims and Villains from at Victims and Villains. They said,
I think I follow those guys.
Yeah. So they said probably a bit more structure, and I asked them to clarify, which they did, which was awesome. They said the original play. Yeah, they're way cool. They said the original play was 30 or 40 minutes longer. Doesn't sound like much, but could help the story flow a bit better. It just feels choppy.
I'd have to agree on that. I would have been fine with another 30 minutes if those damn people that were next to us left.
Oh my gosh, those people.
Okay,
were the worst.
I got to touch upon this. Maybe I do need to go see this movie a second time because I feel they ruined my experiences.
Were they for or against the movie?
They literally talked the whole movie. They had their cell phones on, and literally like halfway through the movie, they just started wrestling with each other. No theater etiquette at all.
What's really interesting is Becky and I went to see it at a theater in Berkeley. And that was the second time I saw it, the first time she saw it. And it was packed, first of all. It was totally full. Everyone was going in with a good attitude, but the person sitting next to her was like very serious about it. Now, she didn't know we were serious about it, but Becky and I were talking through the previews because this was like the fourth movie I'd seen in a week, so I'd seen all the previews that were out there. And she turns to Becky right before it starts and it's like, you better not talk this whole movie. So Becky was afraid to say anything for the whole movie. And I talked, but only in moments of like cheering and sort of having fun, and like to talk to my kids who like, they clapped after a number of the scenes. They were so excited.
That's awesome.
Yeah. Some people just don't have theater etiquette.
Yeah. This pisses me off.
The next response we got is from Movie Muggin at Movie Muggin, and they said lots and lots of catnip.
Yes.
Like more like psychedelic cat experiences for the audience. Is that what they're saying? Like when Taylor Swift to just come in with a bucket of it and smear it on the crowd.
That one I left for interpretation. I was going to ask him to clarify, and I'm like, no. That one's perfect the way it is.
Yeah, it is.
Next, we got Movies on My Mind podcast at Movies OMM. And they said if the movie decided to focus more on Grisabella's story and provided more background on her relationship with McCavity, that would have added more emotional weight to her character.
So these I want to say, these are amazing tweets. If I may dig in on the Grisabella thing for a moment. So one of the changes, is it all right? I'm not messing up your show, right?
No, you're good.
Please go.
So the movie makes a bunch of changes to the play, which I have seen 4 times live, right? And then watched 1,000,000 times on DVD. And one of the changes it makes is it takes the character of Bomb Ballerina, who is Taylor Swift's character, who is one of the good guys in the play. It's she and another female who is not really in the movie, is sort of a side character, is not really in the movie so much, are 2 of the main females in the tribe. And she is a rejecter. She's like a little bit intrigued by McCavity, but she's generally the person who's warning people about McCavity. And if anything, she's got a flirtation with the Rum Tum Tugger. They made her McCavity's sort of like teammate. And they also said that Grisabella ended up sort of like down and out because she had went with McCavity. I think had they teased that Grisabella thread up just a little bit and connected it to the fact that Taylor Swift's character was potentially headed down that bad road as well, you would have drawn a really nice link between those characters and that change to make Taylor Swift's character a henchman of McCavity. So I think there's a lot of depth to that particular comment. It didn't bother me because, like, spoiler alert, this movie has so much more story and clearer story than the play that I was just thrilled to have that much story. But I think that listener has an awesome point there.
Yeah, they go on to say that also more detail on Robbie Fairchild's character. He was in most of the movie, but without a purpose.
No, man, Munkustrap, man. Munkustrap is he is the leader of the tribe she's like the number 2. He's the narrator of the play. He's the first cat you kind of see in the play. In fact, they upgraded his role in the movie. They took a bunch of the Rum Tum, or at least the versions I've seen, the Rum Tum Tugger sings a lot of the parts, and they really centralized him as like the guy running the ship in the absence of Old Deuteronomy. So I feel like that was, I mean, how like literal do we need to be? What did you guys think? Did you guys catch on that he was kind of like the dude in charge walking you through the cats, or were you confused?
I caught on a little bit, but I was still kind of a little bit confused.
I was confused through most of this movie because I had no other interaction with this play or anything before this movie. So I think there's a lot of things that people knew that I didn't.
Yeah. So
and then there was just like a lot of assumption in this movie that it's like, you probably already know this when we don't.
I mean, to be fair, I think that's a great point. I also know when I was 11 and I saw the play, I immediately knew that was his role. I was like, oh, who's that cat? Because he is my favorite cat. So I'm a big fan, and I thought Robbie Fairchild was amazing. I guess we'll get to that some more later, but. So I dispute that tweet, but wow, these are great in-depth tweets. You guys have the best listeners. Every person who listens to our show is like, cat sucks. You guys are nuts.
They also posted a tweet afterward and said, also get some talented costume designers to make suits rather than using CGI.
That is going to be, Becky's main point, or maybe we'll get to that later, but Becky would agree. Becky would say that was her main point about the movie.
Yeah, the CGI was a little rough. Okay, moving on to Instagram. We have a response from our other friend that was a guest on our Beautiful Day in the Neighborhood, Wit_being open. Yeah, so Whitney Openheisen?
I think that's how you say it.
I think that's how you say it.
We butchered it. We are so
I sure
sorry.
hope that's how you say it. I'm going to feel really bad. She says, "Oh, this is a loaded one. Mulling it over on my long drive back west, I think the answer may be live actor/dancers instead of CGI ballerina cats, because nightmares."
Can't
This
really argue with her.
the CGI was the roughest part of this.
Yeah,
I feel.
it was.
Then our last response to this was from Taskmaster Peace. And they said, make it animated and provide free medical marijuana.
All right.
So I won't weigh in on the latter, but I would love to see a Cats universe like Clone Wars. You know how Clone Wars cleaned up a lot of the mess of the prequels, right? Like part of why we go back and we like the prequels more is because the Clone Wars has given so much depth to all those random Jedis that you saw for 2 seconds, and to Obi-Wan and to Anakin's transition to the dark side, right? I'm not saying I could fund it personally, but I would be very interested in I don't know what network it would be on, but an animated series explaining the lore, a little in depth on maybe the leadership struggle between Bunker Strap and other cats. I don't know.
I could see Amazon picking that up. Not Amazon, I'm sorry, Netflix.
Netflix picks everything up.
They do.
Netflix, yeah, they'll slap that Netflix original label on just about anything.
But going off of what Taskmaster Peace said and making it animated, we were actually talking about this on our way home from the movie. I thought that this would have been a lot better to consume if this was more like the Aristocats. Maybe like a more of a 3D animation than what we got.
It was a little bit of a human. It was like a human robot hybrid.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The only thing I would be scared about the Aristocats thing is I don't know how they could pull the dancing off, but
I felt they did pretty decent dancing in the Aristocats. They
That's
had
true.
a big old jazz thing, and there were cats dancing. I think if you went
They're
too realistic with the cats, it would be a little odd. But if you kept it grounded in some sort of animation,
yeah.
then I think it would. I
And at
think
least
it could work. You would just need to get really creative with a choreographer.
Yeah. And at least with that, we wouldn't get human butt cracks.
All right. Well,
all I know, guys, is that just remember, every time you complain about things like human butt cracks on cats or the placement of human genitals on cats, you take us one step further away from ever getting a Thundercats movie. Just remember, Cats has to walk so Thundercats can run.
the Thunder Cracks.
Thundercracks, yes.
I've actually never seen Thundercats, so I don't.
Oh,
I have, and I think that
even Michael Bay won't touch it.
He does got a point.
Really?
This could be the stepping stones to Thundercats.
Okay.
I hope it is. I pray it is. If I have to deal with a basically naked Idris Elba cat mutation, I better get frickin'
Panthro.
Lionel.
And Panthro. Come on. Idris Elba would make a great Panthro.
Oh. Yeah, he would.
I gotta watch this show now.
Oh, that'd be great. I hope that's the good thing that comes out of this movie. All right. So, thank you to everyone that responded on our. Oh shit. There's actually someone I needed to shout out. Okay, so last week with our Rise of Skywalker, there was someone that commented on it that barely missed it.
Oh, damn.
Yeah. And it's Let's Make a Horror Movie. And I believe they're on Twitter at LMAHM Pod.
Love the
So
name.
just wanted to shout out to them because I said I would.
So sweet.
Anyway, back on track. So if you're new to our breakdown system, we've split the movie into 8 different categories. We have it split into story, writing, acting, character development, effects, music, costumes, and then just give it our personal grade. So with acting, we usually go with individual actors, but it was kind of like a group effort.
Yeah.
So I think we need to grade everyone as a whole.
Honestly,
Because I don't know how to individualize.
Oh, the
everyone.
acting? I have character by character breakdown. I won't give you all of them, but we have it. My sister and I both have it.
oh,
So
sweet.
don't worry. I mean, you can do group, but I'll be ready to play when we get to acting.
All right, cool. So let's get into the story where Rose is going to read us a synopsis of the movie. For all of you that have not seen the movie, this is going to get into some spoiler territory, but I feel like we've already gotten there.
Yeah.
And if you're listening to this, you probably saw the movie.
All right. So, in the streets of London, a white kitten named Victoria is abandoned by her owner. I just wanted to say, why did we need humans in this movie? I don't know. It just kind of felt a little out of place.
I think I told you, I'm like, I hope that this human has a cat face. So it's like they just swap the role.
Oh, that's one of the funniest things I've ever heard. That's amazing. That is amazing.
A group of alley cats around witness this and introduce her into the world of the Jellicle tribe. Oh my gosh, and we just talked about this cat, Monkenstrap?
Yeah, Monkestrap.
Oh, it's Monkestrap? Okay, so I did say that right. A loyal Scoutish cat, Mr. Mistopheles, a meek magician who develops a romantic interest in Victoria at first sight, and Demeter and Cassandra, a duo of snooty bodyguards, take Victoria under their wing, telling her of their customs and the Jellicle Ball, an annual ceremony where many cats compete for the chance to go to the Heaviside Lair and be granted a new life, not light. Sorry.
This movie basically the same thing.
Yeah.
So I will just say the play really doesn't have any of the stuff you just mentioned. The people that are watching are essentially the visiting cat. Victoria's already part of the tribe. That element of story isn't there. So Victoria was used from a story perspective, as far as I can tell, as like the audience avatar. That she's the interloper who has a more traditional name. I think you heard the part where I think it's Cassandra says to her something to the effect of like, "What? That's your name?" The whole notion that the cats that have all these crazy names like Monkestrap and Mistopheles, these are not names known to humans. They're known in the world of cats. But she has kind of this pedestrian name. So she is used there to be your introduction and your journeying through her eyes, which, again, compared to the play, you don't have that opportunity. So, while we're talking about what purpose did it serve to have her dropped in the bag, it was that.
Okay.
And I'm not saying having read this anywhere. This is just my interpretation, but I'm standing on solid ground here.
So question for you. So in the movie, I think they touched upon that cats have 3 names?
So the cats have 3 names, and they truncate. So they shorten a bunch of the lore stuff, and they bring about and they take you through a more traditional story. Becky will tell you, by the way, she will tell you that the story in the movie is much stronger than that of the play, and it made her like the play more. My kids felt the same way. They told me today on the drive home that they liked the movie more than the play because there was more talking, as they said. There was more understanding. It's a very abstract play. It's like a Cirque du Soleil type experience. It's not a straightforward narrative. So the 3 names, there is the name that they're called in the house by humans. So Victoria would be an example. And then there's the name that they talk about to lift their head up, cats lift their head up, a name that's sort of like their cat culture name. So Munkustrap is one of the names they call out there. And they actually leave out listing Bomb Ballerina from that, but her name is listed in the original one. And then there is the 3rd name, which is never spoken out loud. And it's this idea that, going back to Caleb's cat fear, that when the cat is sitting and looking, and you don't think it's being aloof or it's in deep contemplation, that it's essentially meditating on its one name that only it knows. And that's sort of think of it like its mantra, or it's its connection to the force. And so it's this mysterious thing. And all of that stuff, I believe, comes from T.S. Eliot's poems, right? Remember, the lyrics to all of these plays are almost unchanged from T.S. Eliot's original poems, who is, a literary giant. This wasn't like Andrew Lloyd Webber writing the words.
Yeah. Because I couldn't remember what the 3rd one was. So thank you.
That is and the 3rd one's never revealed. It's just talked about.
Okay.
In sort of as they're building the universe of the Jellicle Cats, that's one of the elements of it.
Okay. All right, so a group of Jellicles introduce Victoria to a handful of the competitors who show off their contributions to the community. Jenny Any Dots, a domestic tabby who boosts the productivity of mice and roaches.
Played by Rebel Wilson.
Yep.
Dude, I don't know what was creepier, the cockroaches or the mice.
Oh man! So in the play, they're actually the cats act out her song. So there's no roaches or mice. There's just cats picking up it's almost like Stomp. They pick up or Toy Story. They pick up garbage and stuff, and they sort of wear boxes on their heads and pretend to be roaches to sort of dance along with her. They don't actually show roaches. I thought that was one of the moment she starts eating the humans dressed as roaches, I was like, oh, okay, that's where we're going with this movie. We're not dialing it back. We are going deeper than the play ever did.
Yeah, I thought that was so creepy.
It was insane. It was an insane choice, but I embraced the insanity of that. I was like, okay, we got Rebel Wilson eating human roaches.
Great start.
Truly. So the Rum Tum Tugger, a Capricus, I think I said that one, right?
Capricious,
thank you. Tomcat, who riles up the others. Bustopher Jones.
Your favorite was Bustopher Jones? I heard you talk about him beforehand.
Actually, it's a toss-up between Bustopher Jones and Mongol Jerry and Rumpelteazer. Oh, okay. I can't decide which are my favorite. That's cool. Too hard.
First one, mine was whichever one Ian McKellen played.
Oh yeah, Gus the theater cat.
Mm-hmm.
Good choice.
He's one of my dad's favorites.
That was a good choice, and he did a great job. Okay, I'm going to butcher this word too. A
Bourgeois.
Wow, I really need to take English again.
Well, that's a French word if it makes you feel better. I grew up in Canada, so they force us to speak French.
Oh. Okay. Who boasts about his weight and shares food from the garbage. Skimbleshanks, a tidy ginger cat who taps along the railway. Gus, an ancient theater cat who's played in some of the biggest theaters in history. And McCavity, a villainous stray who plans to kidnap the other contestants and reach the Heaviside layer as a birthright. His first victim happens to be Jenny Any Dots when she refuses to follow the group when they dance and sing with Bustopher Jones. He charms her with a green. Sorry.
So I was going to say, just from a plot standpoint, this is another element of the plot that is elevated out of the play that's not from the play. In the play, McCavity is alluded to throughout the play, but you don't really know what he's up to other than he's a master of crime, and then he only kidnaps Deuteronomy. So by bringing in McCavity early, they actually establish his villainy, and you got some great scenery chewing Idris Elba in his trench coat, kidnapping all the different contestants, again, giving the story establishing the villainy of his character much stronger than when it kind of comes out of nowhere in the play. So again, I thought a really good choice that didn't undo the play, but gave you a little bit more. It actually kind of explains why, like Jenny Anidots and Buster B. Jones, they appear once in the play and then you don't see them again. So in a sense, they're actually threading through things that to make it make more sense and raise the stakes, if you will. I know you were concerned about the stakes in Rise of Skywalker.
Oh, you really pay attention to the Elbros.
I pay attention a lot better than we do. Do ourselves.
Yeah.
Yeah. That was something, like, I was wondering what he was, like, wanted for.
Well, he's the Napoleon of crime. He's basically like the mob boss. Mungo Jerry and Rumpelteazer roll up into his outfit. They include Growl Tiger and Griddlebone, even though those characters were adapted to be his henchmen, right? So there's this, bad stuff that's happening around Trafalgar Square is all his doing.
So it's touched upon that he's committed, like, human crimes. Does that say that all in the play?
I think it is. I think what they're implying is he's like, not only is he like a bad cat, but he's like murdered and robbed, and he's Mungo Jerry and Rumpelteazer are cat burglars, right? They're think of them as like Crossbones, whereas he's more like Thanos.
Okay.
Or maybe not. Thanos is probably too big, but he's the big bad of your Marvel movie, and not your guy that gets like offed in the opening act.
Okay.
You guys are gonna come out of this wanting your animated spinoff. My pitch for the animated spinoff. Like if this was an 80s TV show, McCavity at the beginning of every episode would be sitting in his lair, like tapping his finger, being like, Mungo Jerry, Rumpelteazer. We got to figure out how to get old Deuteronomy's Heavenside lair passed this week.
I would watch that every week. Not gonna lie, I would. All right, so he kidnaps her when she realizes who he is. Victoria raids a house with playful twins Mungo Jerry and Rumpelteazer, who in turn leave her for the home's dog.
Which again is a great story moment. I mean, we can talk about story later, but like, this is not in the play at all. Mungo Jerry and Rumpelteazer appear and then sometimes reappear in the play and sometimes don't. Whereas here we use them to not only establish Victoria's journey in the Jellicle Cats, but also you set up the ship of Victoria and Mistopheles because he comes and helps her.
That's true.
So it serves an actual very important purpose in making this addition to the story.
This might be like my favorite part. This and the Buster Jones. But Caleb touched. I can't remember if it was from the ride home or when we were in the movie. But when like they're talking about like a dog behind the door, Caleb's just like, "Please do not put a dog in this movie. Please do not."
Yeah, I want to watch this movie with you guys so bad.
Yeah, if
it was an implied dog. You see, it's like the ear in Reservoir Dogs, right? Like they didn't show the cutting, they just show the ear. That you see the, Hooper knew when to hold back.
Yeah, I was just like, I leaned over to you and I was just like, if they show a dog in this, I'm walking out.
Yeah, I just...
But you weren't like, if James Corden eats a CGI shrimp, you're like, I'm okay.
I was okay with that. But I'm literally okay with like anything James Corden does, so.
Yeah. I'm not. I'm not as forgiving.
Alright, so she is ultimately saved by Mr. Mistopheles. He distracts the dog and they escape the house and return to the group just in time to meet the tribe's wise and beloved matriarch, Old Deuteron.
Who, by the way, in the play is a male, and I think it's usually like a baritone or a bass voice. So they really changed that up, and I think to great success. Judi Dench rocks. Her songs are much easier to understand in that key, for which the way she did them sort of more speaking. So it was a good move. Little gender flip there.
Huh. Isn't in the play the song Mongo, Jerry, and Rumble Teaser, isn't it a lot more fast paced than how they did it in the movie?
So as far as I remember, there are two versions of the play musically. The original one from the London is more like the one that from the London show is the one. I have both soundtracks, and that one is more like it was in the original show, as far as I can tell, which is a little jazzier. And then the American one, or the more popular one, the only one I've ever seen on stage, is more dynamic. It has a slow part and a really fast part, and it's much like brighter and catchier. It's much more of a showstopper, whereas this one is more sort of like a jazzy number. I think from a visual standpoint, it works well with the movie, but I don't think it's as catchy of a song.
Okay.
But for like the scene that they're in and the jumping on the bed and the sort of like 20s flapper kind of look, it was probably the right choice. Yes, choices must have been made to make this movie. People decided to have Judi Dench lift her leg in enthusiasm for Gus the Theater Cat.
Caleb's face. All right, so Old Deuteronomy commences the Jellicle Ball, hosted inside of the abandoned Egyptian theater. Victoria dances a ballet solo in the moonlight, but is distracted by the harassment of Grisabella, a former member of the tribe whom they banished for, among other things, her past allegiance with Macavity. Victoria relates to Grisabella's sentimentality and their quiet camaraderie. Oh my gosh. Camaraderie is witnessed by Old Deuteronomy, who assures Victoria that, despite not being a Jellicle cat, she can become one in time. Bombalurina? Bombalurina, thank you. Is a femme fatale.
Played by the inimitable, iconic Taylor Swift. Who,
yes,
I thought brought it home.
Iconic's a strong word for her.
You're so sweet, Caleb. So sweet.
I am not a Taylor Swift fan at
I mean,
all.
look, I like her a lot, and I have some good friends that like truly like she is their favorite artist. I don't think her popularity and what is now enduring popularity can really be disputed. Like, objectively speaking, we're talking like a decade she has been number one, right? Like, I love Gaga. She's an artist, but like, she's sort of ebbed and flowed. Taylor Swift's been this like power hitter for a decade.
She's got a good point.
I can't dispute.
I'm just
that.
like bending your mind. I'm like bending your
am.
minds here. I got you guys like praising Taylor Swift and, well, no, maybe not yet. Poor Caleb.
Praising is a strong word. I can appreciate the things that she's been able to do with her career. Doesn't mean I like it.
All right.
Okay.
So a femme fatale feline interrupts the proceedings and sings Macavity's praises. This song has honestly grown on me. I didn't like it when we first saw it. Dude, honestly, like, listening to the whole soundtrack, the soundtrack has grown on me so much. Like, I love the soundtrack.
So something that I will say that my sister and I spent time talking about this, because like we went into the movie. I said, yeah, the theater I saw it originally, it was a shitty sounding theater, I should see it on like a better theater. And we saw it at a better theater. And she's like, and then we went back and we listened to the record, and the record's mix is 1,000 times better than that of the movie. And what Becky will tell you, she's a filmmaker, is that she felt like the sound mix of the film was self-conscious. They were so worried about you like hearing and understanding what was going on because it's such a hard to understand play that they buried a lot of the really cool musical stuff going on and didn't lean into it enough. And I would say that's especially noticeable on Rum Tum Tugger's song. The recorded version of that song is a funky, cool, it's sort of trying to be a Sly and the Family Stone kind of a thing, but it's totally muted in the movie.
I have to definitely agree.
I thought I had a hard time hearing everything. I thought it was just because I'm partially deaf.
I mean, you are, but I'm too.
I'm not really partially deaf.
I actually am. So, I'm like, yeah, I'm partially deaf.
Like, for real?
Yep.
Oh, shit.
Yeah. Something new you know about me now. Why do you think, like, sometimes you have to repeat yourself as you're on my left side?
I don't know, because you don't listen.
Well, I have an excuse, okay? Asshole. As she, Mungo Jerry, and Rumpelteazer douse the Jellicles in catnip to distract them, Macavity kidnaps old Deuteronomy, threatening to drown her after his pleas for a new life are rejected. Mungo Jerry and Rumpelteazer insist that they had no idea that Macavity would take old Deuteronomy, and they were just having fun. Distraught over their leader's disappearance, the cats have hit a wall on what to do. Victoria soon suggests that Mr. Mistopheles use his magic to try and conjure old Deuteronomy back. After a few tries, he manages to rescue old Deuteronomy in this manner, and the rest of the tribe praise him as they emancipator. Is that what that word says?
As their emancipator.
Emancipator. Wow, I cannot read English. How is this my native language? Oh my gosh, I was totally lost where I was. All right, there we go. Victoria and Mr. Mistopheles dance together and become mates, having fallen for each other. For some, I never caught. Yeah, I didn't even catch on to that.
There is no love story in the original play, and this is to me like, and I would say for my sister and other people I saw it with, I think one of the subtle, strongest parts of the film version of this story is when we can talk this on character development, but I love this element of the movie.
I gotta see this.
Yeah, you didn't see them like nuzzling up to each other, and he's like constantly.
Not just that, but I didn't get a mating vibe off of it.
That's because you put Mistopheles in the friend zone, man. Get him out of the friend zone.
Meanwhile, Jenny Anydots, via a costume change, frees herself and the other kidnappees, Buster Jones, Gus, and Skimbleshanks, who all make their narrow escape from Macavity's henchman, Rautai. Grisabella returns to the Egyptian, where she is vouched for by Victoria, who implores everyone to hear her out. Grisabella proceeds to sing a passionate ballad about her mistakes, her former glory, and her beauty, which turns out to be the song Memory. The song touches the hearts of the Jellicles, most of all old Deuteronomy, who names Grisabella the winner. Grisabella reaches the Heaviside Layer via a hot air balloon / chandelier repaired by Mr. Mistopheles' magic. In one last attempt to reach the Heaviside Layer, Macavity leaps onto a rope from the chandelier but falls off and gets trapped on top of Nelson's column. The Jellicles, reunited with their kidnapped brethren and rid of Macavity, see Grisabella off from a lion statue as the morning sun rises. Old Deuteronomy breaks the fourth wall and sings directly to the audience. They soon salute Grisabella and disperse, leaving old Deuteronomy to welcome Victoria to her tribe for acting as a good Samaritan.
Okay.
There's some editorialization in this Wikipedia article I want to add, but it's
Yeah,
well done. Considering
one thing, did they even mention Gus in this thing?
Yeah, they mentioned him among the cats that get saved, but this is a very taut description of the play. They didn't go through every scene.
Yeah, that's so good job.
I would like.
Oh no, go ahead.
I'm sorry. I would like to say that the song about how to address a cat pissed me off.
It's because you don't like
Because
cats.
I hate cats, and I'm like, you will get addressed however I address you. You ungrateful cat.
To be
See, I
clear, my favorite moment of the play, and this is one time where I kind of missed the true singer of Old Deuteronomy, but that's the corollary that closes the loop with the naming of the cats at the beginning. So when you're introduced to the tribe and they talk about the cats and the naming of the cats, what you supposedly have learned throughout this is how to treat them, sort of how to treat them and the significance of their name and how to talk to them. And this is remember, these are poems, right? So it's not like they tried to stay pretty, but I understand, like, you're kind of like, why do I have to treat a cat with respect? Screw that cat.
Yeah.
Caleb's an asshole. Kidding.
Doesn't like animals.
No, he just doesn't like cats. He loves dogs. He
Yeah, I
loves them to
love
death.
dogs. I love most animals.
But no,
I
not
hate
cats.
cats.
Like, honestly,
Cats can go to hell.
when we were younger, and like my cat was very affectionate, and she would rub up against his legs. It literally looked like he was about to piss his pants.
Yeah, because I was about to.
I mean, I'm respective of your fears. I'm not respective. I'm respectful of your fears.
I am too, but I've known you for so long that I feel like I can see shit.
All right. How do we think the story worked for this? So, talking it through from someone who's seen the play, I was down in like the 60s with the story mainly because I didn't understand what was going on. They were talking about this whole new life thing, and I was under the assumption that they were going to go stay in some like fancy hotel or something, like have an owner and all this other stuff. And I didn't realize that they were going to send this cat on a balloon.
They're going at
their death.
Well, in the play they get sort of raised up on a harness into the sky from a giant tire. But yeah, it's how cats have 9 lives and all of that. I think it's a little bit of a play on that. It's this notion that they will be reborn and have the life they'd always wanted, or an upgrade or something like that. It's a very kind of spiritual, ethereal thing. I don't know if it's religious, but it's definitely spiritual. But for me, sorry, dude. The order. Can I take my number?
For story, yeah.
Yeah. So I'm gonna go. I know you guys know I love this movie, but I'm not gonna overdo the numbers because I think in Cats the story really isn't what the play is about. The story is simple. It always has been simple. So I give it a 70, and I think the story in the movie really is a huge improvement over the play, but gives way to what I think is actually really interesting character stuff. So I'll give it a 70.
Okay. Rose?
I can agree with that. 70.
70?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, that's about where I was at too after the explanation and everything. So
Perfect.
70 it is. All right. Next up, we got writing. So what are you thinking with that, Rose?
I don't know how to grade this because I don't know is this really how cats talk? I don't know. I don't know how to grade
Is this a documentary? Is that what you're asking? Look, here's my point about this. T.S. Eliot, right? He's considered like one of the great, poets and authors of our time. You're gonna give him a bad number, like,
that's a good point.
So I gave him.
Did he write this? Did he write the movie? Because someone had to adapt.
No, that's true. The
his
story
play,
was
right?
the story was whoever did the story. He just wrote the poem.
Okay. So it went from
Yeah, so
it went
that's
from
the
a
poem.
book/poem to a musical and then to a movie.
Yeah.
Is that how it went? Okay.
Yeah. So someone had to
It's a real chain of custody
write.
there.
Yes, they had to do the writing based off of his story.
Yeah.
And I feel that they didn't make it very new to cats friendly.
Okay.
So I think for me, personally.
I mean,
This
at least
is
you
one
didn't
that
see
I'm
cats
still in the
attacking
60s. That is true.
I think you make a fair point there. I think the counter argument I would make in the world where people want movies like Joker and praise movies like Joker, it seems that in those situations people don't want to be spoons fed. They're fine with lots of abstraction and was it real or not? Was it a dream or not? What was the blood on the floor at the end, right? But in Cats, everyone's like, I want to know the rules of this cat universe. Why do they have butt cracks?
Like, I could let slip, like, a lot of that different stuff. See what I did there? Good idea.
You proud of that?
I'm really proud of that. I can let a lot of that stuff go, like the rules, like the things that I have a hard time letting go. Like the way I imagine it, I'm like, okay, these are supposed to be like cats, and like this is just kind of like I could set up like see how they set up like how the cats are in this world. Mm-hmm. I couldn't get past like some of the magic stuff that was happening.
I'll give you that one.
And then, like with this, it was just like the story or the writing, like I said, wasn't very friendly to someone who's never dealt with the play before. It was very confusing, and it's kind of like you need a little bit more explanation. And with Joker, yes, it is abstract, but it is this kind of set up that he doesn't view the world as everyone else does. So you're kind of seeing the world from his view, and then you can start questioning it with your own logic. This one, it's just kind of like, what's going on?
Yeah.
So I think it needed a bit more explanation, and I think like one of the oh crap, I forgot.
So you're saying like if you had me like briefing you during the movie, or what was you guys were saying? Was you guys talking about, or somebody else was talking about how you got to read like the comic books now in the Star Wars movies to find out what's going on and watch all the sideshows. So like you're saying is that if you had like a Wikipedia page to go along with the movie, it might have been easier.
Yes,
I think that's totally fair.
Yeah, I just don't think they did a great job at setting up the rules like Joker did. Joker set it up, and they make it like, yes, it did leave you to interpret some things, but it did set up this guy has some mental illnesses.
Yeah.
So you kind of have to take what you see with a grain of salt. And then that you're kind of like, okay, these are the rules. And then they just play off of those. This one, I don't think they quite set them up that well.
Very
so me, my grade for the writing is below the story. And I'm in the lower 60s.
Okay. I can definitely agree with you. I'm definitely in the 60s, but I'm at like a 65. That's about what I'm at.
What do you think?
I'm going. You guys have actually affected me here because I'm not going to judge Eliot's poem. I was originally like, how can I give a bad grade to T.S. Eliot's poems? So I was going to give it an 80, but I think based on this, I think as a Cats fan, I think it's a huge upgrade from a writing perspective because what they chose to add is, I think, is fantastic. But like, it's hard for me to argue with someone who doesn't have that context, who like went in and was like, I don't understand anything that just happened. So I'll go to a 75, but I don't necessarily view those as bad grades per se. I'm trying to be accurate and still say I liked it at 75.
Okay. How do you feel? Well, I already said I'm like low 60s,
yeah.
so like I
62.
Around 62.
Okay.
So if we average that out,
wait, you're not going to count me in your average though. I don't want to like screw up your all bros like. I don't want to like ruin your guys' like public reputation if you accidentally end up giving Cats a better score than The Rise of Skywalker.
no, this is how our breakdowns work. Our guests.
Oh my
Okay.
god, this
Yeah.
is a huge. Oh, I'm glad I'm playing it straight then. Now Becky's numbers were like way higher, but since she isn't here, I won't read them and add them in.
Then what did you say for? You said 70.
I'm gonna give 70 for story, 75 for writing. But
Okay.
but more so based on that like I really like the choices they made in moving the story along.
Okay, so so all of our writing grades average out to 67.3. Okay. All right, acting. This one's going to be hard for me
Little bit.
because I individually, it's difficult to do individual because they were singing most of the time.
Mhm.
So it's more like they're dancing
Whoa.
for
They were singing and moving. Yeah. I mean, they weren't talking a lot of the time. That's accurate.
Yeah. So I don't know. Acting, like I think the only one that did like acting work was like Idris Elba. Everyone else did like more songs and dance and like I would throw their grade more
So
into, like,
I'm going to dispute this hardcore. Okay. For me, I'm going to go down the list here. Francesca Hayward, to me, is a breakout star from this movie. This woman is the best ballerina in the world, probably, right? She's the principal ballerina in the Royal Ballet. Yeah, she's not like a Shakespearean actor per se, but to me, the looks on her face, the way she interacts with the other cats, her movement is so incredibly expressive. To me, she's a 90. Robbie Fairchild, who plays Munkustrap, I think that cat, they made a decision to give him a lot of the glue between scenes and characters, and they took that character and they even amped up his role, and I thought he was fantastic. And Laurie Anderson, who plays Mistopheles, huge upgrade of the way Mistopheles is acted or portrayed in the play, because he has to be this almost like nerdy guy who's in the friend zone, who's not super capable. The guy in the play is a much more sort of like jazzy, he's a winner, and he only comes in to sort of save the day once or twice during the play. Whereas the sort of vulnerability of Laurie Anderson's Mistopheles, I thought was terrific and really endearing. So those three, who are the least famous actors probably of the group, to me, like they were the brightest spot of the movie, and their acting in the broadest sense, not like in their like delivery of lines, was, I thought, fantastic.
Yeah, they all did really well with, I feel, what they were given. My score wasn't like super low, and like if I'm thinking for like as a whole, because we're used to like seeing people like a character and their progression. It just felt like with Victoria specifically, like we were just following along with her, and like you said, she's kind of our avatar, like kind of getting to know the world as we do.
I think that's such a cool way to look at it. I never thought about that. But that's such a cool way to look at this world.
Yeah, and I think they did really well. Like I'm in the mid to upper 70s. I could probably be talked to like low 80s.
I'm
they
in
were
the
really
I'm
good.
in the 80s.
You are?
Yeah.
Okay. Where are you at if you're grading the...
Okay, so here's where I'm at. So I gave Francesca Hayward a 90, Robbie Fairchild an 80, Ian McKellen and Judi Dench, I give them a 70, which sounds bad, but again, I'm not taking 70 as a bad number, but I didn't think like, I thought their professionalism was amazing, but if we're grading on a curve, I think if they weren't in it, it still would have been really good. But like, in the end of the day, Ian McKellen was freaking Gandalf. He was Magneto, and he lapped up that milk from the saucer, like, you know, like the pro that he is.
Yeah.
God bless him.
So true.
Idris Elba, man. That guy, well, I mean, he's being mysterious in Idris Elba for the beginning, and then he is as close to naked as you are ever going to see, like, that guy dance around.
Yeah.
And he sells, and it is awesome. And then, I think, you know, and my sister would want to add that Taylor Swift was pretty great in a film that I think they should have used her more, frankly. But just in the ones that I added, so I'm doing the math. I'm gonna average out here. So that's, I counted 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So I, doing honest to goodness math, with giving Idris Elba a 75, leaving out my sister's 99 for Taylor Swift. I give a 78.3333 for acting. Okay. And that's because I clearly just like stiffed Ian. You know what? Round me up to an 80 across the board. Round me up to an 80 because I think I was probably a little bit harsh on Judi Dench. I mean, when Judi Dench's character raises her leg at Ian McKellen to like flirt with him, like give him the old like.
I think I gagged. I think you did.
It was just like, but I'm just like watching. I'm like, that's Dame Judi Dench. Judi Dench doesn't have to do anything she doesn't want to do, but she's like, yeah, I'm in Cats. Cats was, a big deal in the '80s. It's awesome. But really, for me, it's about the performance of those three principal actors who I think, and we sort of talk overall, like I think had they gone more in the direction of unknowns who were extremely powerful physical performers, it would have been less easy to poke fun at, because here they can easily point to Judi Dench's face is floating on a furry cat. Yeah, it's a little odd because you know what Judi Dench's face looks like.
Mm-hmm. So what are you thinking, Ross?
Same 80.
80?
Yeah.
Okay. I'm going to go like the mid 70s. So maybe not, I think I'll go 75.
Okay.
I thought everyone did really well. There was just some that maybe overacted a little bit, like with the cat stuff.
The hissing. I mean, the hissing didn't do it for you. It's a lot of hissing.
So, yeah. I'm sorry, I just have one question. So in the play, is it touched upon what cross paws means? Is that how they pray?
Oh, I never really thought about that. I don't really know, but I guess they do that a lot, right?
Yeah, they did say that a lot in the movie. So.
Oh, that's it. I gotta rewatch and check that out. I haven't thought about that.
Because I think like in Mr. Mistopheles' song, before he like tries to
cross paws, it's like crossing your fingers, like for good luck. That's when she says it to Mistopheles, is because, he's sort of luck's gotta be on his side there. I think that's what that means.
Yeah, it makes more sense. Thank you.
Okay. All right, next up we got character development. So who do we think made I think the one, what was it, Grisabella?
Yeah.
I think hers was like the most significant like development, but like some other people said, they didn't really focus on her story.
Yeah, she's barely.
Yeah.
She's barely in the play also, by the way. She walks by. Oh. Her character is a device. So her character's device in the play essentially to get to memory. But I love the play, but one of the jarring things about the play is as you watch this whole play and you see this parade of cats and you see her once or twice and then she gets the big song at the end, you're kind of like, so she's the one that gets to go to the Heavenstein lair? In this, by tying it to Victoria's journey, they actually earned it a lot more. So if I'm talking character development, I'm talking Victoria, I'm talking Mistopheles, because those two really go through a personal journey. Mistopheles finds his courage. He goes from doubting himself to being the hero. He does brave things that he doesn't realize he could do before in order to save Victoria. And then Victoria, her new fresh eyes by which she views the world is why Grisabella is redeemed. It's not because Grisabella did anything good. So for me, that character development is strongest with those two characters, and thus leaves me giving it an 80.
Yeah. Okay. If
I can agree with that.
If we follow the story of Mistopheles,
Mr. Mistopheles,
whatever, and Victoria,
the marvelous, magical Mr. Mistopheles.
You bet.
I will gave you their story was pretty good.
It was.
And you said that he has more of like a jazzy, more confident kind of feel in the play, right?
Yeah, so in the play, but I mean, I think in the earliest versions of the play, so something that's really interesting about the play is that it's one of the physically hardest plays to perform. I don't know if you've read any articles about it, but the level of dancing and singing that is required for most of those parts is not normal. And so actually, any Broadway show I saw after that as a kid, I was like, I don't get it. Why can't these people dance and sing like the guys in Cats? And so for some of the characters, there are certain dance requirements, Victoria's and Mistopheles being two of them, where often when you see the play, they actually don't sing. Victoria doesn't have a song at all in the play because she's supposed to be like a expert ballerina. And so she's always cast as the best dancer, but it's not usually someone who can like belt out a song. And Mistopheles sometimes sings, but usually doesn't because his character in the play has to do these like incredibly high kicks, that like not a lot of dancers can do. And so in the play, he's more of this sort of like showman character, a good guy, a showman character who's brought in to save the day, as opposed to a guy who's been going through the journey with everyone. And he's very self-assured. He comes in, he's doing his magic right away as soon as he pops on stage. He's firing off sparks, and he's got a light up jacket, and he comes in from the ceiling, as opposed to this one, which is much more of a character that is developing as the story goes on. Bet you never thought you'd hear that much about Mr. Mistopheles.
No, I did not.
Yeah, but that gives a lot better explanation of how they changed him, though.
Yeah. And honestly, it sounds like it was for the better.
It does.
Yeah, I'll send you guys a link of his, they have the play that has the kind of the key moment with his jumps. And you'll see that the performance of that song, they have it on YouTube from the play, like a high quality version. And you'll see it's a totally different vibe to the character.
All right. So you said you're sitting about an 80 with the.
Yeah, like I'm not going to overdo it. We're not talking like Daisy. We're not talking like Rey from Rise of Skywalker here.
Rose?
I'd go 75.
75. With me, I'd maybe give it a little higher than 75. Not like maybe mid 75, so like 77-ish.
Okay, yeah. Can I agree with your score, actually?
Nope.
Well, you ass. You're such a dick.
So that puts character. I only said no because I already like hit the enter button on the calculator.
I had a feeling that's why you did.
Okay, so that puts the character development grade at 77.3. All right, next up, effects.
I don't even know how to grade these.
As the fan, I'm going to say, and my sister was really funny. She goes, -25 for being garbage, +25 because of how it's fun to make fun of it. So even though we loved the play, the effects was just a huge misstep for the movie. I gave it a 20, so let's put it at a 10 for my family's contribution here. And like, this is where if I were making Cats, if I were doing a rewrite, or that there was going to be the Shai cut, I would, instead of gone the like CGI route and tried to do that, I would have emphasized the things that make the play great, which is that it is a physically astounding thing to watch. These people, do the movements, but also the dancing, and the parts where they focus on the dancing during the Jellicle Ball, during the Skimbleshanks routine, even during the movements that they do during the addressing of Cats or during Jellicle Cats. The best parts are when you're just watching these phenomenal athletes move. And if I were filming this movie, I would film it like The Raid Redemption. Right? Do you guys see that movie?
Have not.
Okay, so The Raid Redemption, in my view, best action movie of the last 20 years. And what's great about it is that there are scenes that are continuous shots. There's like gritty action. Like I would have emphasized to people like, you know how Hooper did Les Mis. And in Les Mis, he talked about how everybody sang live for the movie, right? They had the little thing in their ear and they all the performances in the movie to get the acting that they needed. They actually had them sing. And those were the performances that they used in the final version. They should have done that for the dancing in Cats and stripped away the CGI and just used, like, they can make great costumes. Look at all the Avengers stuff. They could have made a good costume. And they should have done it that way. And then people would be talking about how, wow, the story doesn't make sense, but holy mackerel, they really filmed this in a, like, gritty, interesting way that shows you how phenomenal the performers are. So for me, effects, 10. It's a real bummer because as someone who loves the play, it's the thing everybody points to and they say like, it sucks. I can't argue that I can't say it was good, the effects. And it bothers me that it's sort of taken people out of what could have been a really cool experience.
I feel like I'm a bit more forgiving. So I follow a lot of people on YouTube that do special effects. And one of the things that they talk about is like the effects on Cats. And the thing is, it's more like the effects, it's a lot more of just like how unsettling it is seeing a human as a cat. And it's like the CGI and like the skin tight, like everything. It's unsettling. And I can appreciate how well, like, one of the things that I noticed a lot is the lighting on all the characters were really good. It was. And it helped kind of set how they were in the world. The issues that I had were a lot of the things that were very noticeable, like
the floating heads, like Judi Dench's
like
floating head.
Like there's one, who's the
Jason Derulo?
No, not Jason. Was that his face? The
Yeah.
one that, yeah. So when he had was turning his head, you could see his face like move, like bounce kind of back and forth.
That was weird. I feel like effects have come far enough that shouldn't happen anymore, right? Like,
agreed.
Like Carrie Fisher's face wasn't floating in The Rise of Skywalker.
True.
Yeah.
You know where it was floating?
We talked about
it was floating in The Last Jedi. Because Rian Johnson hates Star Wars.
He does, yes.
He is he's like the Phantom Menace. He was sent by the Sith to destroy the fandom.
So true.
Yeah, so
I had to get it in there. I cannot complain about that movie. I'm pathologically incapable of not complaining about that movie.
We thank you.
So I'm sitting around a 35 because I'm giving it points for what it got right, but it got so much wrong. All the people that were close up, all the CGI characters close up, they looked really, really decent.
That is true. The ears and the tails were actually really cool and expressive.
Yeah, those were great.
Yeah, it was the people that were in the further background that looked like shit.
Yeah.
And it was like,
can I change my number? Now you're making me feel better about it. I kind of feel like my number should be higher because of what they got right. I was too harsh. I was compensating for my 90s.
Yeah, sure.
All right. I'm gonna go up to a 30. I'm not gonna go as high as you because you made the argument. I don't want to be too bandwagony, but I think a 30 is probably more appropriate.
Yeah, like I said, there were a lot of things that they got wrong. The sets, though, that they had were pretty decent.
Those looked really good.
Yeah, and you could tell what was like a set and what wasn't.
Yeah,
but there were with I'm just going to call him James Gordon with his scene
Buster
when he's
Jones.
drinking. Yeah, when Buster for Jones when he's drinking the water. How fake was that water?
Oh, when they're pouring that water in his mouth, that was
And it's like they still got. Yeah, it's like they forgot to turn the opacity on the fluid, and And then just like
Pretty funny.
it was like ghost fluid because you didn't see him getting wet.
That's true.
He was just underneath this weird thing that was flowing down.
Yeah.
And I think what also didn't really sell it was some of the sound design on that, because it didn't sound like it sounded like he was faking it.
Yeah, because he's like.
Yeah, it didn't sound like he was getting water poured on his face. They should have really just poured water on his face.
Yeah, if you listen to the soundtrack of that part, because they even include it just sounds weird.
It does. And that gave me horrible flashbacks to how bad that looked. But yeah, for the things it got right, it did okay. But it didn't get a lot right, so that's why I'm giving it
You're at a 35?
a 35.
Okay. I'm at a 30 as well. And I told Caleb this. Some parts they did not know the proportion of what a cat is. Oh. Hell no. Because during the song...
I find this to be one of the funniest arguments people make. I mean, I understand what you're saying, but it just sounds so funny.
During the song of Skimbleshanks, the railway cat.
You mean when they transport to the middle of the railroad in the middle of the song? Yeah, that's what you were concerned about.
Yeah. Well, no, not that. They're just they're way too small on the railroad, and then when they go into the actual rail car, literally, I felt like they were half the size of the door.
Yeah, they were the size of cougars at that point, or bobcats at that point.
Yeah, I was just
yeah, and on the railroad,
it's not honestly, almost every cat is the exact same in height, so it's not that hard to distinguish. That just bugged me.
it was irritating.
Yeah, my wife and I, there's a big Skimbleshanks divide in our house. My wife does not like Skimbleshanks, although she enjoyed the film version of it. She's like, oh, Skimbleshanks, enough with that cat. I will say he is one of the biggest visual changes in the film, without a gender swap, which some of the characters did, is Skimbleshanks, because he is dressed more sort of in a vest and a pocket watch in the play, and here they had him more sort of in this I don't know if it was disco-y Village People, the red suspenders kind of. I thought it was very cool, hip, a much more updated take than the sort of old-timey man with a pocket watch look that the play was. I thought that was a good move. And the tap dancing, also not in the play, superb. And from a sound standpoint,
I loved the tap dancing.
And from a sound standpoint, it sounds great on the album.
Yes, it does.
What pissed me off about Skimbleshanks, and it wasn't anything about the character itself, it's the fact that he wore clothes, and also knowing that we didn't need to have a naked Idris Elba. That's what you're saying.
Again, there were a lot of choices made in this play, in this movie, and that was one of them.
I will fully admit I have a huge man crush on Idris Elba. I mean, I feel his voice can melt butter.
It really can.
Oh, yeah.
But naked cat Idris Elba.
To me, I thought he looked so badass in that trench coat and the hat. When he appeared like that, I was just like, whoa! I've embraced it because I'm like, hey, again, it's like eating the cockroaches that I'm like, okay, this is where we're going with this. But wow. I was like, this was a strange choice. Because also in the play, he's got a big mane. He doesn't sing in the play either, by the way. He's just a big, tall dancer guy who appears and reappears and stuff.
I wonder if Idris Elba has a background in dance at all.
It'd be interesting to see.
Yeah. All right, moving on to the saving grace of the movie, the music.
Oh, I love the soundtrack to death.
Yeah. So this one is out of 10, not 100.
Right.
So the music, all of the music was pretty rock solid.
Yeah.
The issues that I had with the any of the performances weren't with the performances themselves. It was with the effects of the.
Okay.
So taking it, like stripping all of it and listening to the soundtrack, which I did yesterday.
You guys, by the way, are so legit and honest about your reviews. I really, like, again, I didn't agree with a lot of what you said about Rise of Skywalker, but it is one of the few podcast episodes I've been able to listen to with people I disagree with because you guys do the work. I just have a ton of respect for what you guys are doing.
Well, thank you.
Yeah, we don't hear that a lot. I just get a lot of messages being like, well, that seemed a bit low.
I think that the best compliment you can get as a podcaster is when anyone messages you anything about the podcast, because then at least you know they're listening.
True. That's very true.
Yeah,
that's also, I think, one of our first YouTube videos that we did, like us like going out and like hunting and stuff. I think I don't think it got a thumbs up. It got a thumbs down. But I think me and Caleb were just like, at least people are watching. We'll take it.
Oh, yeah.
We sparked enough of a reaction to get someone to react to our video. Like, that's a win. Yep. I'm trying to think of any song. Like, the only song, and this is like totally going against what you were saying, I did not like the Taylor Swift song.
It's so, like, I did not like it in the movie for some reason. I don't know. Maybe it's how you touched upon, like, it sounds so much better on the soundtrack. But that song has grown on me so much.
To me, I think Universal has chickened out from putting that up for an Oscar. That song's better than all of the songs in the new Frozen movie. And I'm sure Idina Menzel's new song will win. But to me, not only is it a great, the fact that they created a new, usually when they throw in one of these new songs for these musicals, they're like throwaway nonsense. Like that Les Mis song was nominated for an Oscar. Could you tell me like what purpose that served and what it was? No. Whereas Beautiful Ghost is actually used to thematically move the story, grow the character, and it's hauntingly beautiful. Like my wife, who does not like cats, is like, this song is great. And I think, and Taylor Swift wrote that with Andrew Lloyd Webber. It's not easy to sit down with the guy who wrote the play and, you know, write a new song for his play that had memory in it, you know?
Wait, hold up.
Okay, wait, so I think Beautiful.
I'm thinking of the McCavity song.
No, she sings that song in the play, but she wrote, they had her write Beautiful Ghosts with Andrew Lloyd Webber. There's a whole
so that's
YouTube
a brand
thing.
new song.
So that's a brand new song because Victoria doesn't sing in the play at all. So when I heard they were coming up with a new song, I was interested that it's Taylor Swift. I'm like, well, she's not going to put out garbage on the music front, but what exactly is it going to be? Is it going to be something that's valuable to the play, or is it just one of these things where we want to put a new song in so we can get an Oscar nomination? And to me, Beautiful Ghosts is like, it's like my second or third favorite song in the play now. I listen to it like all the time with the kids, and I listen to it all the time. I think it's a great song. So
Taylor Swift sung that?
No, she wrote it.
She wrote it. On the album,
Okay.
there is a Taylor Swift version. On the album at like the end, there's a Taylor Swift version.
Well, I was thinking of the McCavity song. That's the one I didn't like. And I think it was because she was trying a little too hard to fake an accent.
Well,
that.
I mean, it's
That's
a
like
British.
a
They're
minor
British
minor,
cats,
right?
to be fair.
Yeah, and I just think it was her accent was bad.
I thought to me visually also that's one of the scenes that really slays. I think that scene sort of like, I felt like they were like, we're not going to make Taylor Swift look stupid. And so they were like, whatever you do, you can have moving faces on every other cat, but this scene has to look like a great old-timey dance number.
Yeah. Just watching her come down in slow-mo and like dropping catnip onto that was pretty cool.
Yeah.
Oh,
Everything like like I said, it was a minor gripe with that song. And it was just because I didn't like whenever she's just like, McCavity's not there, and I think she was just playing up the British accent on a little too much.
I'll give you that one. She does say that line. It does get a little weird.
Yeah, and personally, I said that if it drops it down maybe a point.
Okay.
But I'm not letting that affect, because overall I think the song was pretty good. It just that part of the song I wasn't a big fan.
Okay.
But it was everything else about the music was pretty solid.
So what do you got then?
I'm at a 9 out of 10.
I'm at a 9.
Do you guys do decimals? Am I allowed to do a decimal?
My Excel sheet does not apply for decimals.
Okay, so then I'm gonna give it a 9 to be honest, because it's actually not because of any of the things you guys talked about, but I think that like I've got to be that sound mix issue, like that's on the filmmakers, because whoever mixed the album did a great job. So like I would love to I hope when they do the Blu-ray you have like some sort of like option to have like a better sound mix, because I think that the album version is just so much better, but they have to be responsible for that, because, you know, I'm not going to give them a 10 out of 10 for that. I also think, I thought Jason Derulo had the attitude of the Rum Tum Tugger well, and that was the one that probably the sound mix suffered the most, so I don't want to blame him. But to me, of all of the stunt casting they did, the Rum Tum Tugger was just a little bit short. And I'm putting an email together of like some of these iconic numbers for you guys to take a look at. But the Rum Tum Tugger has such a specific attitude in the play that he got as a performer, but they just didn't get it. They just didn't get it. And that being said, there is a scene where he just yells the word milk, and the cats like party in a milk bar, which was like so disgusting and crazy.
Okay, so music we're going to give a 9.
Hell yeah.
Okay, moving on to costumes.
Yeah, what do we grade on this?
So I think this is more just like the design of everything. And because we gave the effects so low, I'm thinking if you were to just take a still of each of the characters,
Okay.
When they're moving, they're not great.
Yeah, but
When they're stationary, they're not bad.
they're not. Especially, I think the biggest one that stands out for me that looks really good, if it's just in a picture, is Mr. Mistopheles.
Yeah, he looked really good.
Yeah.
And I think he was one of the better ones in the movie.
Yeah.
That like went with movement and everything. But I think they did really well with McCavity
Mm-hmm.
up until he took the trench coat off.
So amazingly crazy. I love it.
I think Bustopher Jones is also, I think, a big standout for the way they dressed him. I'm glad that, because a couple days ago I watched with Caleb the stage version of Bustopher Jones.
Oh yeah.
Honestly glad. I'm glad they didn't give him a monocle in this movie.
Yeah, and I mean, and there's another slight change, right? Corden's Bustopher Jones is played much more for laughs. He's in there like foraging in the garbage like a wild animal, which again, choices were made. Whereas the Bustopher Jones in the play is much more, monocle wearing, and he just sort of rolls around.
Yeah, I found it very interesting in the play. I don't even think he sing. Does he sing any of Bustopher Jones? Or is
he
it
does. He sings the part. He sings the part where he like lists all the foods and the clubs that he likes to go to.
Oh yeah. Okay.
Something about the senior educational, and he's like, and I feast on rice pudding and mutton, right? Like that's him.
Oh yeah, I don't know. I actually liked this change that he sung the whole song.
Yes, I think you don't put George Corden in that movie. The weird thing that I felt is it had his like weird underling that like Butler, which I've never seen before, and that part, the song is sung a lot by this cat who wasn't really featured in the film called Jelly Lorem in the play, and I thought it was odd that they gave up a female singing role to that like helper character, that Jeeves type character, when they could have easily left it in one of the female singers. They could have given it to Cassandra, who had an upgraded part in the film. They could have used. I don't know why they had that extra cat. This is like really me splitting hairs. That extra cat when I would have liked the contrast of the female and the male voice. Because on the recording, you can't really tell that another cat sings part of that song.
Yeah, you can't. But I can agree with you on that. I think that would have been a lot better.
Yeah. So with the design, with what they were going, with what they were going for with everyone, I think the only ones I didn't really care for, like design wise, was like maybe Rebel Wilson's. I think they could have done a little something different. Like I think
you just can't get over Rebel Wilson having her legs spread when you first see her.
Yeah, that was rough. No, but like the character design for Bustopher Jones and like McCavity, like they had an added, like if you were to just show me an image of the costumes, you could kind of tell the personality that they had behind them.
True.
Like if you looked at James Gordon's, his cat,
very sophisticated.
Yeah, it looks sophisticated. It's plumper, so you're like, okay, it's a well-fed cat. It's like a sleek trench coat with like a cool hat.
You know, do you ever wonder, like, if with like James Gordon, if someone like they come up and they're like, you know what, we're gonna offer you the role of Bustopher Jones, and it's just like, should I take that as like a fat joke, or like, do you actually like really want me?
Well, I want to say something about James Corden, who has now like disavowed the movie. Right, there's that quote out there where I don't know what his full opinion is on it, but he's like, I didn't see the movie, I heard it's terrible. I'm like, the man who gave us Carpool Karaoke should not be so highfalutin. I'm sure when they offered him to be in Cats, he was so excited because he's a Broadway guy and he loves cats and he loves plays. And he got in there and chewed on that garbage. Now he's suddenly like, no, I hear the movie's bad. I don't know what you're talking about. You know, Corden was lining up to be in that movie, I am sure. No one had to beg him to do that movie.
That's a good point. I mean, you can definitely tell, like, he honestly like gave his all with that performance.
Yeah. It bothers me that he's sort of being shy about it now.
And it does kind of suck that some actors do that. Like, once reviews come out, they're like, oh, yeah, I forgot I was in that movie. Yeah, I hated the experience of
Dude,
that.
I'd be like, it just came out.
Your name is legit on the poster. Oh, yeah, it is.
Yeah,
like again, he could have leaned into the crazy. I don't know if he did anything on his show. He probably wouldn't be allowed to because he's on CBS and it's a Universal property. But, I mean, he could have done such funny, fun stuff with that.
He could, honestly, I remember watching the trailer for this. He is the first name that is mentioned. It's not Judi Dench or Ian McKellen. No, it is James Corden.
Yeah, because he's Mr. Song and Dance.
Yeah, so I don't know why he's like kind of just like pushing this movie off of his resume.
Yeah, there's like 50 other movies that you should push off your resume.
Emoji Movie.
Oh, yeah, I mean, Emoji Movie. Wasn't he Peter Rabbit? I know you guys are like huge Peter Rabbit fans, but
hey, no. Rose is the big Peter Rabbit fan.
I don't hate that movie. It's better than Smurfs.
It's better than Smurfs is not good. The first link I'm going to send you guys, and this is also a huge shout out to a comedy troupe that I love. They're called Fembot PhD. We were lucky enough to have one of their writers and performers, Candice Martellaro, on our show. One of their performers, this woman, Jessica Amal, who I think she just finished her run with them. They're in California. She has a sketch of her doing Cats as a one-person show called Cat. That is one of the funniest things I've ever seen. Like, I love a good joke that makes fun of something I love, because if it's done in the right way, it's awesome. And it totally takes the show out at the knees, but it's brilliant. And everyone should Google Cats, the one-person show by Fembot PhD. It is hilarious. And Jess Amal is extremely talented. It is a must-watch.
So getting back on track to the costume. Sorry.
Oh, her costumes in that sketch are better than a lot of the ones in the play.
So this one's also out of 10. Where are you putting it?
Oh, me.
Rose.
Oh, Rose. Okay.
Oh,
you can go first.
Oh, I'm going to go, it's sort of middling with me. I agree with everything you said. Like, I feel like I'm gonna go 65. They should have just embraced the 80s-ness of the original play and just gone full in on costumes. Like, I don't count CGI as costumes. So I'm giving it what did I say? A 60, 50? I'm just gonna go 50 because 50% of it was awesome and 50% of it was like a disaster.
Rose?
6.
6?
Oh, 5. Yeah, not 50. Sorry.
Very good.
I can meet you at actually, I kind of want to go 5.
All right, I'll be the only one that does 6.
Yeah, I was like, no. All right, and lastly, we got the genre grade, or this is more like our personal score for it.
Yeah.
So what we'll do, because I think we all have very different opinions on this movie.
This is true.
Is we'll just put our grades together and then average them out.
Okay.
You guys are so kind.
So,
I'm gonna ruin your credibility by accident. I'm so sorry.
all right. So, would you like to go and?
Oh yeah, I'm giving this a 9. What am I? Is this at 100 or 9 or 10?
This is out of 100.
Okay, 90.
This is 100.
90. I'm gonna buy this movie. I'm gonna watch it over and over and over again. I speak for my sister too. There is no question. I love this movie. I know the math doesn't add up, but the whole is better than the sum of the parts is the best way I could describe it. Just surrender to the flow and enjoy.
Rose?
So honestly, like, doing this episode actually talked this movie up a little bit. Understanding this, musical more, and just, like the kind of like understanding the message of this whole play. So, I'm going to go with a 79, actually.
79.
Yeah.
So I'm a bit lower. This definitely did get talked up a little bit for me.
Okay.
Like, more so than I thought. Originally, I was in maybe the low 60s.
Okay.
I think I got talked up to like maybe the low 70s. Okay. So I'm going to go 71.
Okay.
And then that averages out to 80.
Not bad.
Just better than the Last Jedi score.
That is very true.
Honestly, guys, though, if you want to, I don't know where you display your ratings, but if you need to asterisk me out of this so that, people don't, go to pitchforks at your house, I'm good with it.
No, so that actually concludes this breakdown, and our final grade for Cats is a D+.
Oh, I was thinking it was going to be in a C. Oh.
It almost was until we got to effects.
Damn it!
It was like a consistent. It was like bouncing between like a C minus, and kind of bouncing there. It got up to like a C+. And then once we got to effects, it shot.
Oh, so you said D+?
D+.
Oh, I thought you said B+. I'm like, B+, that sounds lovely. That's about what I would give it. D+. Okay. All right.
So it's sitting at a 66.1%.
So I'm going to say that, like, as a fan of this who loved it, I am comfortable both in the world where it gets that rating and loving and owning it and wanting to watch it over and over and over again.
Yeah, honestly, after this episode, I'm looking forward to buying this on Blu-ray. I can't wait to actually watch this movie again.
I can't wait to make Brielle watch it.
I kind of want to go see it in the theaters. I probably can't catch it again because I'm sure sadly it's going to be out of theaters soon. I feel the people that were next to me just ruined this theater experience for me. I think doing this episode talked to the movie up, and I think that's good. So I feel if I went to where, like, hopefully no one is sitting around me or they keep their damn mouth shut, I think I would enjoy this movie a lot.
Yeah.
Cool.
Well, cool. So
I feel like I've done the Jellicle Cat's work here.
You have, and we thank you.
So, 66.1%. So that is, it's above 50 Shades of Grey.
Oh, thank goodness.
That's fair.
It's a little bit below Dark Phoenix.
Haven't seen it, but that's probably fair also.
It's a bit below Unfriended.
I gotta watch Unfriended again because I'm
Is that
sure
a
that
horror movie or like a comedy with John C. Reilly?
So it's a horror movie, but I would love to see that movie as a comedy. Like a cool comedy. Because I think like someone did like a funny parody of that, and they're just like, "Okay, why are we still on? Why can't we just turn it off? Like nothing's gonna happen." So
Trying to look through other ones that we haven't done like a lot of like low movies. It's below Last Jedi.
no, oh no, I think it's higher.
It's not like much above
Like,
Last
honestly, the
Jedi.
only thing
So
that
Last
saves
Jedi
that is the music.
So this is a D plus. Last Jedi is a C minus.
Can we flip flop those?
You guys could have that like once a year, like a fan vote to switch any ratings.
Yeah, we should.
That's not how this works, Rose.
Well, fine.
We don't have to be happy with the final grades. We just have to accept them.
Yes, sir.
So thank you guys. This has been a huge honor to do this with you. I have no idea if anyone's still listening at this point.
I hope so, because this was a blast. Thank you so much for being on.
Oh,
We thought we were going to just power through this.
It is a pleasure doing this with you guys. I really think you have a great show. You made a listener after me the other day when you took my question, but I feel like we've really bonded here.
I agree.
Yeah, we're going to have to do this again.
Yes.
Yeah. I'm happy to come on and defend any of the odd things. You want to do Death to Smoochie? I can do that one too. People hate that movie. I love it.
So you want to tell our listeners where they can find you?
Absolutely.
You do?
Absolutely. You can follow. So first, I encourage you to check out the Friday Night Movie podcast on all the platforms. At Friday Night Movie Pod, at Fry Night Movie Pod on Twitter and Instagram, or Friday Night Movie. Man, no, I'm saying everything wrong today. It's at Fry Night Movie on Twitter and Instagram. It's FridayNightMoviePod.com, and there you can listen to the episodes. We have our glossary of all of our terms and games that we play. You can hear my sisters and I do kind of like what we did here. And then me, if you're interested in my stuff, which is that plus other things, at Pancake 4 Table. That's Pancake and the number 4 Table on Twitter and Instagram.
Oh yeah. Yeah, go check out their stuff. I started listening to stuff yesterday. Yeah, so I listened to the Rise of Skywalker review that they did yesterday. And then today I've just been listening to some random episodes.
Yeah. If you want a funny one, go all the way back. I think it's like episode 7. We did an instant reaction to The Last Jedi. Like I stayed up like all night when my parents and sisters came out of the movie, and they called me from the car, and we discussed it. And that's like one of the most, I would say, like unfiltered conversations. And I think you guys will appreciate it because you watch my like psyche sort of crumble as the episode goes on.
Oh, cool. Well, if you like this episode and want to check out more of our stuff, you can subscribe to us on iTunes, Google Play, Stitcher, iHeart Radio, RadioPublic, or Spotify. Basically anywhere you can find a podcast. All of our content also gets uploaded to YouTube.
And the video actually got posted this morning.
This morning?
Yeah.
What?
Yeah, I posted it at 4 a.m. So.
If you want to follow us on social media, we're on Facebook at facebook.com/RadioPublic. Facebook.com/The All Bros. We are on Twitter and Instagram at The All Bros. And if you have a movie you want us to watch and break down, a showdown idea, want to give us a topic to do a dreamcast on, email us or message us on social media, or you can email us at theallbroschannel@gmail.com, or go to our website and do a form that you fill out at tinyurl.com/theallbros. If you are so inclined, you can also go to our shop of sorts, which is on Teespring, and that's at teespring.com/stores/theallbros. And there you can find shirts and all different kinds of stuff with our episode art on them. Yeah. So yeah, next week is going to be episode 100, and we will be breaking down Red Dead Redemption 2.
Ooh. You guys do some game stuff, some video game stuff. That's cool.
Yeah. So we kind of did that on accident, because for episode 50, we talked about Spider-Man PS4.
Oh, I hear that's
And
cool.
so I'm like, hey, next 50, we can do another game.
Yeah, so Red Dead 2 it was.
Red Dead 2 it was.
Nice.
Yeah, so you guys can look forward to that next week. And until then, this has been the All Bros podcast featuring Friday Night Movie. And I am Caleb.
I'm John.
And then for our guest, we will catch you
Do
guys.
you want me to say something? Do I say something at that point, or do you say for your guest? Sorry.
I don't know. We haven't found a decent sign off for people
I'm
yet.
just gonna say I'll let, before you guys have your lesson, I'm gonna say again, thank you for having us. We had a blast. This is a terrific show. You guys are great.
That's our you. Thank you so much for being on.
Yeah, this is going to be a fun one.
Yes.
Or this has been.
I'm
yes.
sending this to everyone I know.
Sweet.
Because my sisters would never let me talk about cats this long, and they like the movie. They would never let me talk about cats this long on our own show. So
honestly, thank you for letting me understand this more, and you honestly topped up my score. So thank you.
You're welcome, Rose. You have great sense of wonder.
Thank you.
Yeah.
All right. Well, we'll catch you guys next week. Deuces.
So long, partners. I didn't feel like Herbert today.
You're lame.
You're lame.